This broadcast is brought to you by Logitech G, Motorsport Australia, Play Seat, The Gamesman, OG Gear, SimSpeed TV, Speed Cafe, and the Australian Sim Racing Group.
The Racing Series is a new milestone in Logitech G.
All the great old wheels, the G29, the G920, the G923, they all have their own unique way of connecting to each other, but there's no room for expansion with those products.
So the question arose was, what if we were to give the opportunity for the racer to switch out from a drifting wheel to a GT rim?
With the wheel hubs that we've created, that's got a very specific button set, but you can replace any of the steering wheels.
And the real lovely aspect to this was we could give the user, driver and the racer the opportunity to experience different genres of race.
It allows drivers to craft high quality, customized setups that resonate with your individual racing style.
When we start with the design, we always start sketching. Very often, once we've got sketches, we start discussing with engineering.
We had 3 rounds of engineering testing or user testing where we invited in users from sim racing, and every single round of feedback we refine, the product based on what they tell us.
In the sim racing lab, again, we're going to use data to really analyze what a driver needs. We've used everything from eye tracking to the inputs from the pedals, the inputs from the, let's just say, input devices, the wheel and the pedals, the shifter. We're taking that and we're compiling it so that we can build different products based on those individuals' needs for all consumers and all drivers.
I don't know of anyone else in the industry that's actually doing this kind of research into their products to see how their products are affecting performance of their users.
We've built the product to make sure that it's as reliable as possible.
So the innovations in engineering that I'd say we're most proud of is the sequential handbrake and shifter toolless changeover. This is now a patented system, so it's really easy for the user to just switch between modes.
If you give people the tools to do what they want, they will.
They will just go off and have fun.
Hi, my name's Melinda Price. In 2024 I'm racing in Radical Cup Australia with Volante Rosso. Very much old dog new tricks kind of thing, trying to get jiggy with the technology here. The OG gear is fantastic. The socks are really comfortable, gives you enough movement on the pedal but they still breathe really nicely, and the gloves are super comfortable. They breathe a little bit better than your racing gloves. Really love it.
We are gaming fanatics. Our goal has never been to just play games. We think it's much better to feel like you're actually in the game. This feeling is what drives us as we create world-class gaming chairs. Our one aim, give you a brand new gaming experience. help you move in perfect sync with everything on screen. Make sure you're having a ton of fun. It took us decades to achieve this, and we're still not satisfied. Every day, we wake up to get better. We'll never stop designing the very best to help you be your best. When it's all said and done, our job's only done if you're in full flow and focused on your victory. May you win, and win big.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, as we walk through the archway, we enter the arena that it is, our first street circuit round of the championship, Detroit Belle Isle, right in the middle of the Detroit River, just outside of Michigan. You'll notice a slide as we get through some of our pre-roll footage for tonight that says home of racing in Detroit, and unfortunately no longer the case. This circuit no longer used, but boy is it picturesque. And oh, by the way, the Canadian border is only a couple hundred meters that way. So we are right on the edge of American territory. This place, though, has been home to some of the most intensely fought battles. If you make a mistake, the wall will bite. If you're thinking about an overtake, well, the cars might bite. And now, for the first time, we get to race the closest that we've ever raced. This new generation of hardware and chassis, Sandman, it races better than we've ever raced before, and you can lean on people. This is street circuit racing in the Gen 3.
Absolutely. Good evening, Scott, and everyone wherever you're watching around Australia, around the world. Yes, this is street racing at its best, and I guess we say a little bit, it's sort of a bit like our Adelaide street circuit. Well, we won't have to say that for, well, hashtag soon, too much longer. We will get the Adelaide street circuit sooner rather than later, but for now, this is our version. It's the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle, and what a great little racetrack this is.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, right up in the northeastern corner of the United States of America. Detroit was known as Motor City, and it's still motors on, albeit the street circuit race now over in the heart of downtown Detroit. Instead of out here on this picturesque little island, it's become a little bit of an animal preserve, and that was one of the reasons that moved racing away from here. This is the format that we've got available to us. The last time they actually raced here, the cutaway between turns 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, no longer used that. They went straight through from 7 to 11 and into the last couple of corners as well. So, look, it's changed over its evolutions, just not on the sim is the way that we like to talk about it. It's 3.8 kilometers around this little place, and its final race all the way back in 2022. But it's short, sharp, it's spicy, and there was an IndyCar and a safety car crash over in turn 2 as well. So it's even had some funny little moments, as racing tends to be. Hey, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that I do love about this joint is it's got character. You're going to see different surfaces and plenty of bumps around this joint. And the fact that the concrete walls are just within a whisker of where you want to be on the racetrack, that makes it very exciting. And the thing that spices things up tonight, which is one thing that I'm excited about, is the super sprint format, where we've actually got 2 races tonight. And that first one of 16 laps, these guys are really going to have to hustle around here to get the job done. It's a very, very quick format for race 1.
Yeah, that it is, and we've got a new qualifying format as well coming your way. 2 races tonight. For the first time in the series' history, we are going to have 2 qualifying sessions. Group qualifying at both of the sessions here tonight means that we will have 10 minutes for 22 to 23 drivers, depending upon which group that you're going to be in. First 10 minutes will be the bottom half of the championship. Second 10 minutes will be available to the top half of the championship. No hard cut at the end of qualifying as well. If you're on a flying lap, you will be allowed to complete that one. That will set the grid for the 16 laps of race number 1. We'll talk about that and why that lap count's actually really important in a few moments as well. Group qualifying session number 2. Well, after race 1, that's not the end of racing action for tonight. We will reset them. We'll jump on over to a new racing server. From there, we will get a fresh set of qualifying. The biggest thing that comes out of this one, Sandman, is if you bin it and race 1, night's not over. That's historically been the case in the previous format.
Absolutely, and you see the winning points difference too. A win in race 1 is 67 points, a win in race 2 is 133. So if you are going to bin it, no one wants to. You'd prefer to bin it in race number 1 because there's obviously more points on offer for race number 2. But you're right, and that's a bit of a feather in everyone's cap, isn't it? You know that usually in the longer races, if there's only one race and you have a struggle, then it could be game over for you. But with tonight, with 2 races, you can sort of gather yourself up and fight back hard in the second one.
Worthwhile pointing out, here's where we sit in terms of our Supercars Championship, and a big announcement in the last couple of weeks as well. We're going to be joined by the Bend Motorsports Park. So the first South Australian racing venue will join us. Unfortunately, and I hate saying this, Bend's a great little place, but everyone was hoping that might have been Adelaide Street Circuit. It's not. There is so much excitement for the Adelaide Street Circuit. It is palpable. You can feel it. Everyone you talk to is keen to get that place out here. But that TBA at the back end of the season, last round of the championship, December 3, might be an Australian venue, might be the Bend. We just have to wait. We're all chomping at the bit to get there. We can't get there yet. We can't really talk about it. But where are we off to in the next couple of months? Detroit Grand Prix from Belle, Circuit to Spa-Francorchamps, Road America, Ref. All of those before we get to the end of July. Then we get a little bit of a break back to August. Then we hit the endurance calendar. Phillip Island, Sandown, Mount Panorama, all the way on December 3rd. I can't believe we're only 4 races into this one, including tonight, because we also had the quality series, and that was another 4 rounds as well. The year has blown by, and it feels so busy and so much has happened. But this is only the 4th round of this one.
Yeah, round number 4. I almost wanted to give someone a clip around the ears at work when they were saying that Christmas is only around the corner. I'm like, you need to calm down. Don't start saying that sort of thing. But yeah, round number 4. But I don't know, it's a little bit scary. You look at those points, and I was just about to tap on that we've only really had 1 winner in the series so far, if you obviously take away the qualifying series, and Jared Filsell. But he's won it in every way he can. He's been races where he was dominant. There's been races where he, picked up the pieces, but he was there to gather it up at the right time. He just hasn't put a foot wrong. And you look at that from the points series, and you think, man, everyone needs to really start to act, because it's round number 4 for tonight. And if you leave it too much longer, that gap might be just too big to claw back.
Yeah, and it's already out to 96 points as well. But remember, we had that chunk of a group that were all together. And the big thing is, don't forget, we've got the endurance calendar to get to as well, whereby the co-drive is going to be quite crucial. 133-litre tank available to us in this car, longer tyre stints. We probably one of the things we actually haven't talked about is when we get to Phillip Island, the tyre wear there is enormous. It is massive. That will be a huge talking point, is you actually run the fuel out when we get that deep into the fuel. Have a look at them as they come around the final couple of corners there, and then straight through the start-finish line, the amount of speed that they're carrying. Here is your championship leader at the moment, sitting nice and pretty. And think back 12 months ago, and he was on the attack through the field after scoring no points. This time, it's out in front and in control. But remember, over a couple of different championships, things have gone to pieces. Just because he's this dominant early doesn't mean he's going to be into control. I talked to Andrew Gilliam after the last round. I actually jumped in and had a really good debrief with the Lobs guys. We caught up. We actually talked. One of the things we actually talked about was, what would you do with the calendar if you were in control, which was really keen to get some of those guys' perspective. What tracks would you like added to iRacing? There was some really good thoughts shared. But Andrew Gilliam said to me, I've only just now, in the lead up to Watkins Glen, finally figured out how to drive this car. That's scary, because this right here is his best racetrack.
Yeah, that's it's interesting, isn't it? You know, it's taken some people just that little bit longer to get their heads around it, but I think that's a good thing for the series. And you know, it got to a point, I think, with the other cars that, you know, everyone was pretty much at max with that, and we probably didn't feel the change. But now that everyone's had to adapt to a new car, a different driving style, I think it's been great, and it's been interesting to see who's adapted quick and who hasn't. So there's still plenty out there for everyone to learn. It's only round 3, or round 4 now, I should say. And we haven't really thrown in the mix of wet weather for our series yet either, so we haven't seen that. That's going to be interesting come Enduro time, isn't it? But for today, it's a beautiful 19 degrees at the moment, so no threat of rain at this stage.
Well, you say that, but there was a threat of rain coming tonight. Tonight might have actually been the first time we actually got to see it. We need to hire... If anyone knows of anyone that's capable of doing a good rain dance, can they please send them our way? And then I have some farmers that would be very desperate to have them afterwards. But they will be a person who is in a greatly desired quantity. So, yeah, look, rain dance, we're going to have to wait, Sam-Man, unfortunately.
It'll come. It's easy to say from the commentary box, isn't it? Yeah, we'd love the rain. I reckon all the drivers are going, no, we're pretty happy with the dry conditions, if you don't mind.
Well, it's actually going to spice things up, because do you change tyres, or would you rather keep a warmer pair of wet tyres on, is actually going to be a talking point when we get there. But that's not in the offering tonight. Those quick shot of results that you did actually see was the practice timetables, and we actually got to see Jared Filsel, as usual, atop the timing sheets. This man is a man that is in his prime at the moment. A trip a couple of weeks ago to the Victorian State Championships netted him a win down in Victoria, and driving at his peak at the moment is Matthew Bowler. The problem being he's still in the back half of the championship. A bit of a larrikin in amongst his teammates, often talked about as not taking things seriously, but when push comes to shove, certainly does so. And new hardware. What do you think of the driver of the 12 at the moment, Sam? And think he's done enough?
Oh, mate, there's no doubt he's got talent. There's no two ways about that. And, you know, I don't know what else to say, to be honest, but he's one of the things the toughest thing is sometimes making the grid, and to be part of this Logitech series is proof that he's actually got pace on board. So, you know, never rule anyone out. But, you know, especially Matty Bowler, there's sort of so many things that can go his own way, and you know, the pace that he's got on board, and you know, a little bit of luck, you never know what could happen.
I think that's the big thing this season, is a little bit of luck. Anything realistically can happen because the field is closer than it's ever been. Was that a tap of a wall? Is he up and crested out the other side of turn 2? Will that put the pin in his first qualifying performance? We'll have to wait and see. Glenn Postlethwaite's pushing on in behind him. Been out and driving his real-world cars as null. Sean McNamara, one of the older drivers, one of the veteran drivers in and amongst the field. Has this new hardware really made it a change of scenery, a change of style for Sean McNamara? He's in the series, he's been there, he's been relatively quick thus far. One of the big things that we haven't seen over the last couple of years is that of the Simrigs DPR squad, but Ryan Jones actually has made a real splash. I'm actually rather impressed. Remember all the way back to Fuji in the qualifying series, finished on the podium in that enormous fuel save strategy?
Yes, yep.
So we'll see if Ryan Jones can put it together in terms of qualifying at the moment. Bowler still on the hustle at the moment, coming through Fountain section. On the way out of turn 11, lights the rear tyres up. That's that bump that you were talking about, the changeable surface. And that is the challenge of getting a lap together around Detroit Belle. Out of the last couple of corners, still unsteady in that car. So lining the rear tyres up, good enough to make the lap count. So was no contact over at turn 2. 30.959 will be the first benchmark from qualifying. What was Postlethwaite able to throw down? I don't necessarily think he actually put a lap together. Yes, he did, 31.292. McNamara into the 4s. Ryan Jones goes to a 31.2. So at the moment, that standing point from Bowler is actually going to be reasonably well put together. Another ERT car goes to P2. Here they come. Tyson Broad out of the final corner. He will jump a little bit deeper in the pack. 31.298. I'll tell you what, the 31.2s seem to be about where the biggest chunk of this first pack are sort of landing. So there is a lot of cars covered by not very much. In fact, we already have our first tie on the timing sheets. Sebastian Vardell, Ryan Jones, 8th and 9th on that timing board. Set a 31.241, split him by the 10,000th of a second.
Interesting time of bowlers. That held up really well. You know, we were watching and the attitude that he had on the car, and we touched on that he just lit the tyres up a little bit. Might have been a bit squirrely, but at the end of the day, it's held up nicely in his P1. So, and the most important thing that we talk about each and every round is getting that banker. And when you can put your banker down and you're top of the timesheets for the moment, that's really great. That'll give him a little bit of pep in his step. He'll fly back to pit lane and put on a fresh set of Dunlops and have another crap. But when you go to the top of the leaderboard for your outlap, that's a good steed.
I think one of the biggest benefits that he's got, and probably one of the hardest things to do around a street course like this as well, is actually get clean air. And he bowled out of the pits very, very early. Got out there, set a clean lap. No one in his way, no one to worry about. Didn't have to think about traffic. He knew that he was in clean air. So you might see a little bit more of that. Might not necessarily be about drafts. Wayne Burke has been quick at the moment. I'll tell you what, he's actually been putting laps in NASCARs, would you believe it, Sandman? And doing it quite successfully. So I think he's been out there trying to bid for your favour.
That's my boy. He's definitely got, he's piqued my interest. I do love my NASCAR. So good on him. That's terrific.
Well, at the moment, we are coming to the halfway point of this qualifying session. When that clock hits 15 minutes to go, that will be the end of qualifying Group 1. We'll have a 5-minute changeover and be set for qualifying Group 2 in qualifying 1. And that was Brady Baldwin feeding out of the pit lane. Was that Burke's flying lap as well? It was. He's going to be hit by this traffic. It's not going to work.
Man, everyone's going to do their absolute best to get out of their way, but it's distracting for a driver, you know, even if you know that people are going to get out of your way, it just puts you off that little bit. You're a bit tentative with the braking zones, you know, you don't want to sort of get too close to anyone in front of you, and you're sort of trying to second guess where they're going to position the car, or you can hope that the majority of these guys where Wayne is now on this straightaway, that hopefully they move out of the way, because this is the part where it's probably the easiest point, but it looks like a couple of people might sort of give him some grief into 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11.
No, he's actually managed to navigate it fairly well. It was Ben Faulkner who just got out of the way. Next car is actually going to be Matt Bowler, who's now going to get a little bit of a toe in behind Ryan Jones. But there's enough of a margin here. Didn't quite tag the wall, so this one's still live at the moment. In terms of qualifying ability, Jones runs wide at the corner ahead of him. Think this will be fine, because now Ryan Jones is going to press on to start his lap, so he will no longer be trying to back things up.
It'll benefit a tiny bit from that little bit of draft from the car in front too. So nice clean exit there, and just try and see what he can get. Just that little bit of a sniff to the line.
Runs it out, does get to the line, lap will go in the books. 30.823, and I tell you what, it's to the top. So, all right, never mind. Maybe it was traffic. You know, all of a sudden I'm thinking, hang on, I'm going to go out there and get myself mixed up in the traffic.
He did. It didn't put him off as much as we thought, but look, you know, I'm not one to say about driving skills. I definitely don't have that, but you know, I always found when you've got traffic in and around you, when you're on a hot one, you're trying your absolute best and you're second guessing where those lap cars might be. So he did a great job. Top of the timesheets, as you see, Hayden Veld, he crosses the line with a 31.3. What does that slot him in 16th?
Not necessarily the greatest of laps, but it is a lap on the board, so he'll take that. And it'll be pressed on back to pit lane. We have just over 2 minutes left in the session, so I don't know whether or not he's going to get back to the start-finish line. Replay Lachlan Capel at the moment on the OG Gear replay. That's a blown engine, and that will be the end of his qualifying session. And they can just reel that one behind the tyre barriers down there, no problem.
He did an amazing job not to stick it in the fence too. So, yeah, not ideal, but nevertheless, it's still early for tonight.
I'm pointing out, Job Stewart's out there at the moment in this first group as well, and I reckon he's probably a little bit more capable in terms of championship standing. The problem for Job will obviously be real-world commitments, keeping him away from the series to, unfortunately, not be competitive as he would have liked. Remember that standout third place he had last year at Watkins Glen was his biggest and brightest result of the season, and that is absolutely what a real-world driver's stars look like for the future. That was the real performance to be seen out of him. Full spot the timing sheets at the moment. Will get to the line. He will improve as well. That'll put him to P2 right now, and that's a stout lap as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and Steady, as he crosses the line, does he improve? Is he just starting? I'll tell you what, like I say, you were touching on the real world commitments. It's not a bad excuse for not getting enough in time or missing a couple of rounds if that happens to be the case. I think everyone would give up their spot for a turn in some real world racing. So yeah, it's not a bad excuse, is it, when you have to spend some time away from the simulator?
Hey man, that's it. Look, if I have to spend the time away from the simulator to go drive the actual thing, yeah, there will be no complaints.
Sign me up, Buttercup.
Brady Baldwin at the moment trying to turn laps. Driver who is a very, very important facet of the Australian dirt racing community as well. Guy in charge of everything that goes on behind the scenes at Oceanic Dirt Sim events and runs a phenomenal championship that is getting bigger and bigger. So he's put a lot of work into that, and occasionally that does detract from his supercars driving, but at the same time, as they get more density on the rear tyres, if there's somebody that's going to be able to drive that and drive through it quite well, with Brady Ball. Checking flags just flown for Group 1. For anyone that is on a lap, you're allowed to finish it. Baldwin will get to the line, did improve, but only by 2 spots. Tags the wall out the other side. Tell you what, that is one of the times where you're like, yeah, look, I can press a little bit harder if I'm a sim driver, but if you're a real world driver, that's a panel you've got to fix.
That's right. So Wayne Burke, Job Stewart, Matty Bowler, they're your top 3. And only the top 4 are into the 30s. So I think they'd be pretty happy with that. How quick did that session go for them? Holy crap.
I think Sean McNamara and Hayden Veld might be on laps, and I do see Dylan O'Shea lapping, but I believe he would be done by now. McNamara's lap will not count, so he will lock him up on the way into the pit lane, and Veld is the same. Uncertain on Dylan O'Shea of whether or not he crossed the start-finish line in time to have a crack at the moment. So keeping half an eye. Other than that, he might be he'll be the only driver that will be out there running for a time at this point in time.
Just trying to improve on that 31.2, currently P7 on the grid. Of course, that's all going to change when the next group of cars come out. And that can be a little bit disheartening sometimes too, when you know there's another group to go out and you see your times just start to dwindle down the board. But nevertheless, the couple of guys at the front, they'd be hoping that does all right. And yep, he's peeled off, so it looks like that lap either wasn't going to improve or it didn't get the job done. So that's quality.
First half of qualifying 1 now done. So Burke from Stewart from Bowler, as you mentioned, Sam, man. Ben Faulkner's had a reasonable night at the office as well. She'll sit 6th out of this group. But for Faulkner, 31.185, expect that to fall a fair way down the standings, unfortunately. I would say that the bulk of this next group should be into the 30s, you would reasonably expect. So that's probably going to be about a good enough lap to be effectively 29th, 30th, somewhere around there. Might get a little bit lucky and might be better than that if things go his way. But top 10 at the moment. And then Ryan Jones, Postlethwaite, Broad, Pereira, Stenberg. He's still not getting that qualifying effort together, is he, Kurt Stenberg? But his race pace is good. The problem being, tonight's the shortest racing event of the year. So only 150 kilometres split across 2 races. It's going to be tough for him to advance from there at Detroit for a while.
Yeah, that's when the nerves start to set in too, doesn't it? You know, if you don't have the best of qualifying sessions and you know you've only got a quick sprint race to get the job done, you know, the nerves can rise. And, you know, we've seen Stenny can race well. We've seen him get up on the wheel and, yeah, it's just going to make things just that little bit trickier for him when he's a little bit further down the pack. A bit of a concrete canyon and a short sprint race of 16 laps. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
That is the Detroit River, just outside the fence. I believe that shot would be on the back straight, so that ship would be passing in Canadian territory as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong. Always could be wrong. But shipping lanes, that'd be an interesting topic to manage, isn't it? Shipping lanes in and out of America and Canada in the middle of a river like that.
Yeah, then throw in the debacle of tariffs, but let's not go into that too. That'll fire up everyone that's sitting there watching. So, yeah, we won't go into that. Let's just stick to the politics of racing. But great little racetrack. I really enjoy cutting laps around here, and it's one of those feel-good tracks when you get, you know, that middle section of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. When you get that right, that change of direction, the bouncing up over the concrete, licking a little bit of the curbs. It's a feel-good racetrack when you get that part, nailed and put down a good lap. And interesting to see how this super sprint round goes. It's interesting to have 2 races tonight and sort of make things a little bit spicier.
Well, I think one of the important things is, and look, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this: try something new. If we do the same thing each and every year, and look at Bathurst last year, for example, going that distance before we finally got a safety car in the real world, that made people sit down and question about, well, should there be a race safety car to bring everyone back together? What should we do, really? And it's something the Sims tried and tested. There's always this debate when we go to Enduro season about whether or not we should hold random safety cars, but at the end of the day, this is a new format. Well, the sprint format's not a new format. It's been tried in the past, but this is a new way to go at it with 2 separate qualifying performances. I've got to be honest, I kind of like it because it promotes racing. It promotes, if I'm told I've got 2 races tonight and my result for the first race is where I start for the second race, I'm going to be a touch more aggressive in the first, touch less aggressive in the first race. I've got to be honest. So.
No, I love the idea of trying different things. If we did the exact same thing for every series and every racetrack, it'd just get pretty boring, I think. So, talking about boring, let's see what if anyone stayed awake to bother to watch Monaco. They tried their best to try and spice that up, and that was still a snooze fest. So
anywhere but Monaco, please, anywhere but Monaco.
I need to ditch that track, I tell you. But anyway, let's concentrate on supercars as we got the second group out. But like I said, it's good to see we're trying something different, and I like it. It spices things up a little bit, this short race, and a little bit longer for race 2.
Here we go. This will be an important one. Who are you watching along with at home? I did see a little bit of support for Ian Ford, who sits 4th in the timing sheets after qualifying 1. Section 1 of qualifying 1. Is it our returning championship leader, Dylan Rudd, who's not necessarily had the greatest of starts thus far? And this is a really interesting one to keep an eye on how that dynamic is progressing as well for the Chiefs Esports drivers. That'll be a story that I don't think we'll stop talking about till the very end of the year. For Phil Sell, he's been quick and utterly dominated in the pace department this year. What does qualifying look like? Because this is also a track he's done very, very well at over the years.
Yeah, and not only is he a good racer, he's a good qualifier as well. So, and look, let's not beat around the bush. There's a pretty good chance that if he had an okay Bathurst, he probably would have won last year's championship. So that's how good Jared Philsell's been of late, and he's already won the title himself, and could have gone on to do it last year, but unfortunately Bathurst bit him and walked away with a DNF. So that pretty much put an end to his championship, but he's trying to make everything right, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we see him at the top of the charts once we get rid of this next 8 minutes.
Importantly as well, watching along with Zach Rattray-White at the moment, because he is leading the group of drivers that are coming to the start-finish line. Joshua Anderson is having one of his best years in a very, very long time. He is reinvigorated by this car, and he was quick in the practice session as well. He'll be the second driver. You can see the Trans-Tasman machine in the background of the shots. And he will set the second lap time. Adam Briggs as well. Jordan Ross was also very, very quick in the practice session, so he will be up there and in with a chance. When you talk to Synergy Sim Racing about the Gen 2 chassis, anytime there was bumps and street circuit style racing, they tended to do well. And this is our first bite at the cherry to see what it will be like for the Gen 3. Coming out of turn 11, down to turn 12 and 13, the kink at 14, all that's left now to set a lap time. And this place is so easy to overcommit at 12, so easy to overcommit at 13. Run out of here, fractional lift at 14, you can't hold it pinned. As you run to the line, Rattray-White, what's he going to set for us here to start the session off? And it will be a 39.69, so it's not good enough to eclipse those times that were already sitting there. Anderson goes to P3, but he's not quick enough to eclipse him as well. Phil Sell straight to the top. We expect that from the championship leader, a man who's been on the march in 2025. Who will get up there? Who will challenge? Gilliam goes to P2. Already talked about how quick he's going to be.
Damon Woods gone into 5. Luke Rosella into P4. Looks like Cliffy Gardner hasn't banked a time just as yet. So will he push on for this one or just dive straight into the lane? Man, this is such a quick session. If you don't bank that first one, it really puts the pressure on, because you got two options. You fire straight back to the lane and have one more crack at it, or do you push on those I say old tyres? They've had sort of one breath of life taken out of them, and just try to put that banker. I guess that's where the pressure lies for him now, is it's like, does he push on? I don't know. As much as I'd love fresh tyres, I'd love to just have something on the charts as far as the time.
Well, there were two drivers who actually failed to set a time thus far. The other one was Brady Myers, and I haven't seen him roll back out of pit lane, so I wonder whether or not he might have had some sort of contact instead of his qualifying effort, or if there was an issue of some description. No, he did drive it back into the pit lane. I think he might actually be having hardware issues for Brady Myers, because he's still in pit lane. He's been there for a very long period of time at the moment. The other side of the coin is he's waiting for the traffic to come in so he won't get hampered. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's actually going to roll out right now. He's okay.
Yeah, that's we talk about, isn't it? It's like, it's our 50-cent part. You know, you can have the best sim gear in the world, but if some of it has a little bit of a hiccup and you have something go wrong, or you have loss of internet connection or something, that's our 50-cent part. So, you know, it's amazing how many times that some of these drivers have just been caught out by little glitches, and there's been things that have been out of their control where it's just been a simple update that's happened mid-race for you, and it just makes everything go pear-shaped and you lose your screen or something like that. That's something that everyone needs to be aware of, and it's just one of those little things, these niggling things that you don't need coming into a race night.
Yeah, so we'll watch and we'll wait for an update on that one. For the meantime, though, he will get back out on track, as does Andrew Gilliam. Already goes to P2, but Wayne Burke's time still holds up. Third fastest overall. Luke Rosella has not had a very quick 2025. He has struggled to adapt to the new car. The three Lobs Esports drivers inside of the top four. That is a big, big statement. That says to everybody else, all right, we've been quick at the front with Jared. We've been right there with Gilliam last round, and now Rosella's starting to match them as well. That is going to be a massive mountain to climb if anyone wants to put a challenge to it.
Well, look at the times we said, you know, you needed to be in the 30s, and from that first group, what did we have? 4 or 5 that were in the 30s, and now into this session with just under 3.5 minutes to go. What have we got? 11, 12 cars that are in the 30s, and that's where you need to be if you want to make an impact towards the front of the grid.
Lachlan Cable was the first car outside of the 30s from that first group, sits 14th. One driver has jumped in the middle of him, that's Madison Down, first driver outside of a 1 minute 30.9 lap time.
Very sorry to cut you off, mate. I was going to say, it's very un-Madison-esque, isn't it, to see him sort of outside of the top 10. I don't know if it's been just the change to the next-gen car that's maybe he hasn't quite gelled with. I'm not quite sure, but it's not something that we're used to seeing, is it?
No, and he said he was going to be motivated. I think everyone said, though, that they were very, very motivated about the new hardware. But he was right up there amongst it. Well, sometimes things go your way, sometimes they step away a little bit. He's certainly competitive and motivated. That much you can absolutely be sure. The way that he talks about it, the way that he wants to press on. The desire is there. So he will continue to try and improve by every stretch of the imagination that he possibly can. So the two drivers who failed to set a lap time, Griffin Gardner and Brady Myers, they're both out there at the moment having a crack. Once they set lap times, they are good to go for the end of the session. Jacob O'Reilly's had an issue somewhere because he's tumbling down. We also saw he was quite slow. So whether or not he's on an outlap at the moment, I don't think he is, or whether or not he actually very, very early on his sabotage. There's another car that dived to the right-hand side, got out of everyone's way right there. Probably another car trying to back up and have a crack on the lap because they only have a minute and 45 seconds left. You may as well, even if you know that. Well, that changes things. There you go.
Don't know about that hardware issue now. How's that? Brady Myers, top of the timesheets. Just as I say that, Phil Sells pipped him by 1/10 of a second. So Jared Philsell done a 30.5. Brady Myers with a 30.6. Gilliam now backed up with a 30.6 as well. Josh Anderson, he's in the 30.6s. This is incredible. Top four covered by just over a 10th and a half.
Wow, it is getting tied
James
up at the
Scott.
pointy end. James Scott now comes and lays down a time. He goes to P2. He said, right, I've not been talked about in long enough. It's time for me to step forward and really launch my case. And it's important to do as well, because there's a fountain on this place. It is the James Scott Fountain, Memorial Fountain, right in the middle of that complex between 7 and 11. So if he's going to do it anywhere, it nearly seems destined to be lined up for right here. Well, I think that's going to be about it. There is maybe one or two drivers on a competitive lap time at the moment. That was the look in. With the side-on shot from Brenton Hobson at home. And there was an issue for Cody Teeth as well in the number 3 car, the Eclipse Sim Sports. He's might have whacked the barrier quite heavily.
Braking zone. Oh, he's gone a little bit hot. And yeah, hard contact to the front of that. That's quality over for him, unfortunately. Massive damage to the front of that. But that's how quick it is. There's basically 2 shots at it, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's why we were saying it's so important to get that bank up. And boy, oh boy, Jared Filsell, James Scott, absolutely nothing in it. I'm saying that. The top 5, just over a 10th and a half. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, to get 3 cars in that. Now, the question we're asking ourselves, did Dylan Rudd manage to get to the line to start this lap? Because he does have a valid lap time on the board, so he did at least set something for 15th at the moment, Dylan Rudd.
Oh, he's backed out of it.
No, so he is rolling out of that one. I think this will be a practice start. You'll see, no, it'll be straight back to pit lane for him. Right, qualifying session, I think, is just about done, because the next driver through is Rattray White, and he was the first driver through the queue. And that is the pond in the middle of the island, in the middle of the Detroit River. This is Belle Isle Park, and this is our Detroit Belle Isle qualifying order. Man who's been on top of the world and his older ex-teammate are going to line up 1 and 2. Jared Filsell from Lobs Esports, 30.507. James Scott, less than a tenth of a second alongside of him. P2 and P3 and P4. Brady Myers sets one of his best qualifying efforts for the season. He'll line up on the second row alongside the man who loves this place in Andrew Gilliam. Out to 5th and 6th now, Josh Anderson. Like we said, he has been really, really quick this season. Madison Down improved and needed to set a good lap time at the tail end of the session. He'll start out of 6th. 7th and 8th, Wayne Burke. How about that time that topped the first half of qualifying? 7th position on the grid. That is a phenomenal effort from Burkey. Luke Rosella will line up alongside of him inside of the top 10. We'll see if he can press forward from there. Damon Woods and Joe Stewart are going to round out the top 10. The man that is looking for drives, if there's one available inside of Australian racing, and a man that's got, trying to make a case for himself. Ethan Greengold outside the 10. Zach Rattray White will line up alongside of him. Cody Teeth will be out of 13th spot after that hit with the barrier late on in the session. Jake Maloney will be alongside of him, 7th row of the grid. Defending champion for this series, Chief C Sports Club's Dylan Rudd will line up out of 15th spot. Matthew Bowler, reasonable time for him. Inside of the top 20, he'd be reasonably happy with that one. Ian Ford was 4th from that first group in qualifying. He starts immediately in behind his teammate. Rick Kuznetsov will line up alongside of him. That is a brilliant looking new livery for Rick Kuznetsov as well in the 9.5 Sim Sports entry. Griffin Gardner and Dylan Burst going to round out your 20. Outside of the 20, Lachlan Capel and Jordan Ross. Just remember, Capel was quick in the first half of qualifying. Jordan Ross looked capable for a lot more in the practice session, not to be when we got to qualifying. Adam Briggs and Jacob O'Reilly are going to be outside of the 12th row of the grid. Getting back to the 13th row of the grid is Robbie Gibbs, who's a lot deeper in the field than he necessarily would have liked. He's been one of the best ERT cars thus far this season. Ben Faulkner will line up alongside of him. It looks like they found some pace inside of the Million Esports machines. Brenton Hobson, 27th place for him. Dylan O'Shea will line up alongside. O'Shea, again, just didn't look quite as comfortable as we've seen him in times gone by. Jack Wittes, the question mark for Jack tonight is there's points on the table still yet to finish a race. Could tonight finally be the time? Brian Borg will line up out of 30th. Emily Jones will be the first car outside of the 30, and Sebastian Vandel in the Vermilion Motorsports machine alongside. And we'll get back to 32nd and 30. That was 31st and 32nd. 33rd will be Ryan Jones, Glenn Postlethwaite, both from the first group of qualifying, 33rd and 34th. Getting back to 35th will be that of Tyson Broad, lining up alongside of him Dylan Pereira. It was good to see Dylan make the season he deserved to make it. Had a couple of unlucky finishes inside the qualifying series, but showed the pace he needed to. 37th and 38th, Kurt Stenberg from Taro Sorono. And then we get back to Mr. Dirt in Australia himself, Brady Baldwin and Hayden Veld. Deep in the field for him, rounding out our top 40 cars. A couple more from here on back. Everyone set a valid qualifying lap here tonight. Sean McNamara from Jake Blackhall and Andre Youssef will round out the field. Right, we are going to jump straight through into our place seat pole position, but the entire field, Sam, covered by less than 1 second. How close is that? Place seat pole position. It is the man who has been showing turns of speed since the launch of the new car. Might have been frustrated last year, but Jared Filsell, mate, what do we have to throw at you? Do we throw a pack of marbles at you? Do we get a Nerf gun mounted on your rig somewhere that we start shooting with in the middle of qualifying? What's it take to get you out of the top 10?
Maybe a bit of water. I don't know. I was hoping it was going to be a wet one tonight. I was looking forward to it, but we don't have that on our hands, unfortunately. So, no, it was a really good lap to put it on the pole there. Obviously didn't maximise it because the outlap was so slow on both laps. It's probably where a lot of the field probably went a bit pear-shaped there because the tyre just doesn't really phase really well when it's really cold like this. So yeah, ideally we would have had a faster outlap, so better times, but I'll take it.
Hey man, new gen at this place, the team, you've all been working together a lot. I mean, we spent a lot of time chatting after the last round at Watkins Glen about what's going on in and around that team, and it seems like everyone's really starting to gel for it. What was the discussion coming into this one? Because Gilly absolutely would have been wrapped. He loves coming to this place. What's the team chat been like?
Yeah, he's actually on his new rig now, so he's not running at 60 hertz in the sim, so he can actually see where he's going, which is cool. So his speed's really good as well. In practice he was quite close. He probably didn't maximise his quali for this session, but he definitely had enough to be on the front row with me. And Luke, he's probably struggling a little bit, just coming to terms with the car in qualifying trim. He's done alright tonight, but I'll look for him to move forward in the race for sure. He's definitely a better racer than a qualifier in this car at the moment, but yeah, we've been giving him hell for it, so that's okay.
Mate, one of the biggest things that we've talked about a few times here in the comms box already, new format here tonight. Are you looking forward to the challenge of having to reset after race one and go and do another qualifying session? Because that's the first time we've done that.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Quali car's good. I wouldn't mind driving it again. Yeah, I quite like the challenge, especially with the temp going to be quite different as well. If I got my wish, hopefully this one was going to be wet qualifying and wet race, and then we would have had a dry race for the next one. That would have been really cool. But yeah, beggars can't be choosers.
Mate, finally, we'll let you go and go off and enjoy. Anyone you want to give a big thank you for getting this done, at least for qualifying trim, and then all the sponsors get a thank you later on.
Yeah, obviously all the boys at Lobs, they've done a mountain of work since this car's came out, so it's making our job a lot easier in prep for these races where we already kind of know what we need and the direction to head to get the car in the window. So it's making life a lot easier just to focus on driving than set up work, so we don't go down a little rabbit hole and just get stuck. So no, I can't thank those guys enough. We've put in the hard yards and in the dock, and it's definitely been fruitful so far, at least for myself, but the other guys are starting to get their handle on it as well, so yeah, it's been great.
All right, no worries. I've had a chat to our scrutineering team. We're working on a Jared Filsell restrictor plate to go on the top end of your motor, mate, so we'll see how we can hold you back for the next round.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck, Jared. He'll get out there and give it an absolute crack. From our play seat pole position, we'll take a step a little bit deeper in the field. We'll jump all the way down to 15th spot. It's last year's defending champion. Dylan Rudd, the last time that you came to this place, it was championship confirmed. It was locked in. New year, new car, new challenges, and you're a little bit deeper in the field. Nerves were maybe a touch higher last year, or maybe are they a touch higher this year?
No, definitely. That would have been definitely higher last year. So yeah, not too much pressure on tonight's race, that's for sure.
In terms of things, like we said to Jared just then, new qualifying format, so probably a little bit more effort was put on the qualifying car this time out. in that you've got to run it twice. Do you think there's a little bit more out there? Do you think the car was capable of a better lap than that one?
Yeah, I definitely left about 10.5, 2 tenths on the table in the second run there, but I'm sure that's the same with everyone up and down the field. So it's hard to nail a lap around here. But yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't nail one tonight in the first police session anyway.
You've got the unique challenge here. You're actually starting on the bend, coming to the start-finish line. Does that change clutch percentages, throttle percentages? How are you going to try and fire this thing off a little?
No, I don't think so, but I'm sure I'll find out once I let go of the handbrake.
And finally, brother, look, Detroit Belle, this is going to be a street circuit. Everything is going to be challenging on that run down to turn number 1. Is there a goal in mind? You want to get inside the top 10? It's just survive race 1, put points on the table?
Yeah, just make it through the first lap, and then see how far we can move ourselves up the field.
Right, mate. I'll let you get on with it then, because you've got a few minutes left to get yourself prepped. We'll see you out there for race 1, and then qualifying 2, qualifying, and race 3. Sorry.
Awesome, thank you.
Righto, Sandman, that gets us through the Gamesman grid work, including our play seat pole position for tonight. Biggest challenge is getting the thing off the line, and I'm looking at the band and I'm going, this is not going to be simple. We've seen light ups from a professional field of drivers this year. I think this is probably the most challenging start we've got thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to throw into the mix, it's only a short sprint race, 16 laps. And as our camera goes up to turn 1, you can see what's ahead of them. They're all going to dart in there as quick as they can, try to give each other just that little bit of elbow room and not fire off into that tyre barrier that could await them. So interesting race. Qualifying's amazing. Less than a second covers the entire field around this racetrack. That's normally stuff you only sort of tend to see at Watkins Glen, but to see it around a concrete canyon like this, that's really good and encouraging just to see what sort of racing we're in for tonight. I really can't wait.
Righto, worthwhile talking about the races that we've got ahead for us tonight. We've got a 16-lap opener, and then the second race is going to be 24 laps. Fuel mileage, though, Sandman, it's touch and go in this one.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering that how cruel could we have been and maybe done it as a 17 or 18 lap race where they might have to save a smidgen. So it's going to be just over 16 laps for fuel. So, you know, it mightn't hurt just to maybe look after it for a lap or so, but they should make it home in this one, no problems. But geez, imagine if it was another lap or two longer.
Well, the big critical thing here tonight, no compulsory pit stops required. This is the streets of Detroit Belle. You ask the question, is there going to be a safety car? You ask that question every time you go street course racing. Drivers have lined up, they've done their qualifying laps. They'll have to do them again in a short period of time. We have 43 entrants tonight, missing 2. We are 30 seconds away from lights out here on the streets of Detroit Belle. Could this be the last time that we see the supercars around here in terms of sim racing capacities? Because Adelaide's coming. This could be the last time that you can stick yourself in victory lane from the streets of Detroit Belle. Sandman, you got to pick Jared Philstone from that front row, don't you?
Yeah, he's pumped. He was looking forward to racing in the rain. I love that he was on that mindset too, because I was speaking to you boys in the commentary box before the broadcast. I was hoping for some rain too. So if he was excited about the rain, he's obviously confident about his pace.
Here we go. Lights are set to come on. Here comes the launches from the streets of Detroit Belle. 2 races in racing action. The return of sprint racing, and who's managed to get the car away? Phil still got a great getaway. Reasonable from Brady Myers on the second row. James Scott just barely manages to squeeze him out. Feeds in there. Single file for the front 2 rows. Then it's back to Gilliam. Didn't get a great launch off of turn 2. Gonna try and cover Josh Anderson all the way down. Cover, cover, cover. Because this is your best opportunity to get moves done. Have a look at Wayne Burke trying to be aggressive in the background as well. They'll start to feed in 2 wide in the midfield. Out about 10th spot, just barely dodging the barrier was Matthew Bowler in the 12 machine in the middle there. There was some contact at the back, but they all look like they got away.
Oh, just as you say that, there's a car backwards. You've just done the commentator's curse. Backwards into the fence, Brian Borg. Looks like he's got away with it. Doesn't look like there's too much damage, but the problem is it's a short race and he's got to hustle now. He was hoping for a safety car. That's not going to be the case. He just needs to be eyes forward now.
Yeah, nothing he can do. He'll have to settle it down and see if he can't track down the back end of the field, because the other side of that coin is, well, they're going to be boxing on and trying to hold each other up a little bit to try and get those moves done. They bounce down through 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 for the first time tonight in what is going to be 40 times of asking, and have a look at them squeezing their way through.
Crazy. I thought I saw 3 wide. They're surely not through that part of the racetrack. But they got away with it. Unbelievable stuff. That's probably not the most ideal place to go 3 wide, but they all survived somehow.
Yeah, managed to get it through, get it out the other side. Lap 1 in the books. And Brian Ward, whatever went on with him, he's asked for it to have a look. So they're going to go ahead and have that one checked in by the stewards. I tell you what, the top 10, none of them have changed positions. They all got reasonable getaways. The first driver who gained spots, Cody Deeth, up to.
Yeah, everyone's been very smart about this opening lap, and we touched on, even Jared said probably a little bit colder than what they were expecting as far as, the way the tyre prep is. So they're probably just being a little bit cautious.
Ian Ford is in the barriers, and there's a missing front end on that car. And he's going to get away from it now. So I wonder whether or not there was contact. And the front end of it looks very, very second-hand.
It's so easy to do in that. We talked about the bumps in the pre-race show. There we go. This is a replay of the start of the race. This is where we saw, there was contact down the back. We missed that. That's heavy damage. There's 3 or 4 cars involved. And we thought there was only one pointing backwards, and that's what we saw. Unreal.
Yeah, there's some massive damage to a bunch of cars in the back there at the moment. Haydenveld was, Jake Blackhall, one of the ERT cars, has got damage on the front end of him. Andre Youssef, I think, is going backwards as well. But I tell you what, Borg's actually starting to track down that group. Brady Baldwin's also got a little bit of damage. And Robbie Gibbs, he's had such a great start of the season. He's plummeted 11 spots. He started out at 25th. He's now back outside the 36th spot for him.
Hey, that was wild. I was touching on just how tricky that part of the racetrack is. Got the bumps, you got transition from concrete to tarmac. I mean, this part here is tricky enough as it is, and when they were all battling 3 or 4 wide and the contact wasn't ideal, but a majority of the field. Let's check out this onboard vision as we go to the OG Gear replay. Onboard Borg, have a look at what he's seeing. This is before all the dramas happened. This is just on pit exit. They're all trying to shuffle, get a little bit of space. Look how crammed it is. No wonder we had a drama. They're all trying to position themselves. Bang! Oh, how lucky was he to get away with that?
Well, he said he was lucky.
Oh, and then bang! Oh, that's heartbreaking.
He survived. He got away with it. But they were 4 wide. I think for a moment, and they might have been 5 wide on the run down at turn 3. Far out. That's pushing the margins.
Well, you can see they were feathering the throttle. They were trying to give each other that space, but you've just got to try and push on. And unfortunately, once that little bit of contact starts, it's almost a chain reaction. You're just bouncing off each other.
And this is that moment where we're 3 wide at the end of the back straight. Dives it down the inside. There was a hole. The hole disappears. Gets away with it. What was that, O'Shea? I think it was Dylan O'Shea. Just went bang into the wall. Lost above it. They were 3 wide. And he gets shuffled out.
Oh, really? Man, it's been wild these first couple of laps for these drivers. Unreal.
I mean, are you surprised? This is what you said. This is what racing enables.
Yeah, well, the pressure rises, doesn't it, when you know you've only got 16 laps up your sleeve. And if you find yourself a little bit further down in the pack too, you know that it's crucial to get past as many cars as you can, because obviously there's a few more points in the kitty, and this race doesn't pay as many points as the second race does, so it's crucial to get as many as you can under your belt.
Well, the big thing is there's opportunity to move forward, there's opportunity to move backwards, side to side, elbows out. It's opportunity to have in the wheel. The biggest thing, the difference from qualifying to race pace is filed out, 2 deep in the braking zone, and it was in forward all the time.
It's so easy to do. It's so frustrating as a driver. It's so easy to do that part of the racetrack, and we touched on it. You've still got race 2. He'll push on for what he can just salvage now if any of your other cars get into drama. But you can always focus on race 2 now.
Phil Sell's got control out the front. James Scott sits in P2 for now. And I can't tell you, ladies and gentlemen, could you imagine if you're racing a real-world race car, you're racing a real V8 supercar, you're going to go at it for 16 minutes, you've got the elbows out, your temper's up, your heart rate's pumping, and you've got a 10-minute turnaround to get into a new server, to get the car equipped and ready for qualifying and go again. That is going to be a mental challenge.
Yeah, and it makes it a little bit easier when your car's great. You know, like you think about Phil Sell, Scott, Brady Myers, they're in the top three. They've obviously got a decent car underneath them. They're gelling well with the track tonight, well, so far. So that gives you that little bit of confidence. But if you're struggling sort of back in the pack, you've had a shocker qualifier and you might not be, you know, too comfortable with your car, it sort of gets you really nervous for race number 2, because you know that it's crucial that you make that race count to get some decent points out of tonight.
And there's going to be a different track temperature. Could be warmer, could be cooler, but there's going to be a swing. You heard that from Jared Fursell as well. What we've got for race 1 is not what we're going to have for race 2. That's more damage to a Vermilion Motorsports car.
Yeah.
Sebastian Farndell, and that's Jordan Ross into the barrier. On the
this
left.
could be a safety car if that's a motor gone. No, he's got away with it. Massive, massive damage there.
He's done though.
Yeah, it's not over, unfortunately, for a decent result, but I actually thought it was going to be engine damage and he would have been parked there and it could have been a safety car.
Interesting to note, there actually no meatball flag on that car, so he is okay to continue on with that in the condition that it's in. Unfortunately, yeah, you're right. The result is over for where he was before all that. Boy, there's just been some squabbling.
Yeah, the way the race is going, it's not unrealistic as we go to the OG Gear replay. This is just a chain reaction of events here, into the fence there. And it's just going to continuation. I think he gets fed into the outside wall, bang there, tagged from behind, and then hard contact into the barrier. So, unfortunately, damage there. But what he can do is just push on. We've seen some fair bit of drama so far, and if he can capitalise on some other drivers not having a great result, he could walk away with a few extra points. So it's important that he pushes on.
Burst is coming to the pit lane. I didn't necessarily see him involved in any contact with anyone, so he's in the lane. And the other one is Dylan Pereira, which was the car that we just saw impacted by that. Update from race control is the lap 1 incident will run down to turn 3.
Watch out! Yep, he's gone round! Oh! Managed to get away. That could have been dangerous for the cars behind. They all managed to get away with it.
And it's Jacob O'Reilly, I think that's the car at the moment that was in front of this pack. Goes side by side. It was an issue as well for Ben Faulkner on that lap. I've just seen Lachlan Capel get his elbows out, and Emily Jones was the recipient of a thunk from the Ford Mustang driven by the number 18. Up here it all looks so sedentary, doesn't it? These guys are all just in control. Lovely Sunday cruise. Oh, look, the park's lovely and pretty out here. It's such a picturesque racetrack. And everyone down the middle and back of the pack is just elbows out. There's barbs being traded.
There's fair drivers down the back of the pack would probably sell their grandmother at the moment for a top 10 just to get out of the mess. It's quite wild. I knew there'd be sort of a little bit of a raised heartbeat or two, you know, down the back of the pack being such a short race. But, man, it's been a little bit wild, hasn't it? And lucky that we haven't seen a safety car with the amount of action that we've seen so far.
Sandman, the thing is, when I jump behind on the wheel of one of these things, all of a sudden, I'm a big fan of trading card games. I love my trading card games. Not a Pokemon official, don't worry. But all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel like this is corner panel trading. It's not car racing, it's a bit of car trading, isn't it?
Not trading paints, so to speak.
Okay, you got me on that one. Yeah, all right. Emily Jones is on the move at the moment. And remember how I said that there was contact with Lachlan Capel? There was a reason for that. Is that O'Shea? I think it is ahead. That at the moment, and that was Lachlan Capel got up on the curb, thumped wide, and ran Emily wide and grabbed the spot. That is just street course racing.
That's it. That was it. He capitalised on that moment between those two and got the job done. So a little bit of elbows out, but that's all right. A little bit from Biff and Barge isn't too bad. They all got away with it.
and they'll have
Easy to
penalties
say
straight
when
at
I'm a
the end of the
commentator,
race.
isn't it? It's different when you're think what that guy did to me.
Yeah. The bleep would be coming out thick and fast at that point in time. But the thing is, you got to trade a little bit of paint to move your way forward in the newest of eras. I can't believe. So the quote comes out about, we were talking about Monaco earlier, and the 2024 Monaco GP, and it was the top 10 of not traded spots. Well, at the moment, we are mimicking that, although the race distance is significantly shorter. We are top 10, still unchanged from where they started.
I think it's strategic for these guys. They know that they're in a decent position. They don't need to race too hard. Yes, if you get a position or two here, it might only be sort of a 1 or 2 points or something like that. So I think they're quite content to sort of be where they're at. It's probably giving them a little bit of an understanding for what they can do for race 2. Maybe even think about some possible adjustments to their car. I mean, that might be something on their mind as well. So I think anyone who's in the top 10 at the moment would be quite content to finish this way and then race hard for race 2.
Well, points are awarded in this one on individual race results. Update for Dylan Burst, 5-second penalty. Contact with Capel on that one because that's the number 18 car. So that's all been adjusted. The car I can see at the moment is sort of making the most ground, closest to putting the challenge inside the top 10. So Gilliam's starting to track down Brady Myers, and Josh Anderson's starting to track him down in response. And you got that little pack. And Rick Kuznetsov is starting to make some ground. He's up 2 spots, tracking down Dylan Rudd, who we spoke to earlier.
White again too, that's interesting.
Dustin McGree on the windscreen.
Yeah.
All back there in that one off.
Don't you love our Aussie V8s bouncing up over these curves? I love to see it, especially at racetracks like this. And can you imagine what we're going to see when the streets of Adelaide come to iRacing? I mean, that is just going to be incredible. Talk about bouncing off curves. We love it. Our V8s love it. It's a good look for our series, I reckon.
The same phrase last night, I reckon Adelaide is going to be more used than Bathurst when it's launched, because we've been waiting for it, we've been wanting it for so long. One of the cars I'm actually really looking to go out and drive is the Lotus 79 as well. Back in those days, I mean, I wasn't around for them, obviously. But at the moment, Rick Kuznetsov is going to get a rear bumper of Dylan Rudd. This one was starting to come, and they're going to make secondary contact as well.
Yeah,
and now look at the pack in behind. And Kuznetsov does slide it on through, just barely. Gets the car pulled up. I thought he was going on the fence there for half a moment. Griffin Gardner will now line up in behind his teammate of Dylan Rudd.
Yeah, it was important they got single file because there's marbles on the outside of the racetrack. Not as bad as what this would have been for a longer race. You can see that on the outside of turn number 1, but you touch those marbles and he could have fired off into the fence pretty easy. So smart, lost the position, but got straight back in line. So that was good.
One of the things I did actually talk to a few drivers about after last one was marbles. And here comes the assault. Griffin Gardner shadowing the inside on his teammate. I think this is just a ward off an assault from Matthew Bowler behind, because they've been talking about it. Look at Dylan Rudd. All of a sudden starting to light the rears up. So 10 laps in, all of a sudden there's a little bit of tyre deck coming to us, and there's some temperature in the rear axle of the number 1 machine. And I think there's some temperature underneath the helmet as well.
No doubt about that. And for this shorter race, these guys probably aren't looking after their tyres as much as they would if it was a longer race. So they know what they've got. What have we got? 6 laps to go. So they know that they're just going to use up what they've got now, but they need to be smart about it. You don't want to overheat these tyres and these supercars, because that'll give you sort of traction problems, and you need to get the power down. But at the end of the day, they're not looking after everything, and it's just a battle to the end.
So this is 22nd, 23rd and 24th, but there's a queue of cars in behind these guys as well. This is where it starts to get ferocious in the mid-pack. Capel's managed to find his way past Dylan O'Shea just recently. O'Shea, the last time we were looking at this group, was ahead. So move done there with the Evolution Racing Team driver. Shout out to his teammate as well. Oh, Albert's still got PC issues, unfortunately, that haven't resolved themselves. But that's okay. He took the night off. He's down in Melbourne for the Logitech showcase night at the moment, enjoying himself with sponsor activation.
That's a good boy. Got to look after those sponsors. They all get it done for us all, and we wouldn't be anywhere without the support, especially we have our good friends at Logitech G and all our partners. And these race teams, I mean, how lucky are we to participate in esports where our teams and drivers have sponsors, and it's really cool. It's something that I never would have thought in a million years growing up as a kid, that we would have this opportunity to be paid as sim racers and commentators and everything else. It's such a cool thing to be a part of.
And moment. Battling will continue. This is back down towards the tail end of the top 10 at the moment. Job Stewart's the Blue Evolution car. You can see at the moment just ahead of the Eclipse Cindersports car of Cody Deeth. This is for 10th and 11th. Deeth is going to set it to the inside. He's going to lean on him. Doesn't get traction out the other side, and they're going to go toe to toe. They both didn't quite get the power down in the next gear that they grabbed as well, and Ratchet White's going to try and feed down the inside. This is difficult. Greg Gold senses a weakness in his teammate. No way! No way they go through too wide through turn number 13. They'll bang panels. Here they come to 14. Righto, top 10. Now something's changed at the back end of the 10. But Payne is required to be traded to get the job done. Now he's going to elbow his teammate back out wide. Jake Maloney looks for a way on through. Here they come. It took us 12 laps, but now the boys are fired up.
Man, he's going to lose 4 spots out of that, so he's just going to see if he can hold on. The TTR car just trying. No, they managed to get a bit longer. It's still not over. They're 2-3 wide here. Nose to tail into the braking zone.
And Jake Maloney was just about there on the back of Green Gold as well. Gave him a wrap on the rear. Just to say, hurry up, get it done. Now he's going to fire it up the inside of the next corner. They'll lean on each other. They'll lean on each other. Pass not done. Here, send into the back straight. Again, continuing to lean on each other. And Rick Kuznetsov goes through, picks on up off Maloney. Here comes Kuznetsov. 9-5 Sim Sports. He's going to lead onto Ethan Green Gold. They'll head down the back straight away. Turn number 7 coming up quick. And Rick Kuznetsov just got 2. Right there, and Maloney and Greg Gold are having what we call words in the sim. They are still trading paint, and Maloney is going to touch that rear end of Ethan Greg Gold a few more times. Hey, bud, not happy with the way you raced me there. Get ready for some aggression.
Oh, Kuznetsov just capitalised on those two, just battling out, picked up 2 spots, thank you very much. Man, this is getting spicy. They got told over the radio with 5 laps to go, and everyone's like, all right, let's get on with it. Man, that was some good, hard racing.
Well, Dylan Rudd's now been brought back into the picture, so this sort of collapsed 2 groups back together. Who's managed to get their way through at the head of this one? Greg Gold's got a couple spots that he's managed to go and grab. Sorry, my apologies, he was up to 12 spot. He's dropped a couple at the moment. Job Stewart's dropped outside the top 10. Finally, we've got a new driver inside the top 10. All of that triggered by Cody Deeth. Outside the 10, lunges in, little bit of contact, gets inside the 10.
It's like a drop of blood in the water, wasn't it? You know, everyone was just turned into a feeding frenzy. There was an opportunity to make up a position or two, and everyone just pounced.
Yeah, and just look at how often they lent on each other. And you know the best thing, Sam, man? There has not been a word said on the radio, not a call to race control, no, none of that. Everyone in the field says, all right, that's racing, that's how it is, no problem, move on with it. That is what I love, because there was, yeah, sure, it was aggressive, but still some respect was shown. They tried to give each other room. They got away from each other, and it was a snap of oversteer that got them back into each other.
That's right, and no one was fired off into the fence. There was no safety car. It was just like, all right, game on, let's go. So a little bit of push and shove, a little bit of argy-bargy. That's what we want to see. We don't want this gentleman's sport. Yes, it's good. There are times where during a race where if things get a little bit rough, you sort of accidentally get into someone, you give the position back. I agree with that, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of hard racing at the same time.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you can't be a little bit aggressive, you can't go racing. This isn't world competitive tea drinking. No, this is supercars racing, boys, and that requires paint to be traded.
Absolutely. Take up netting if you don't enjoy that. Take up a different sport.
Right, now we're running out of racetrack, we're running out of time. 3 more laps left to run. We are just outside of 12K, sorry, just inside of 12Ks to go. Where's the next room? Where is the next? The thing about this racetrack, it's a powder keg. It will kick off. It's just a matter of when, not if. We've seen the first few bites. Are we going to see it go supernova when we have to restart in race 2 because everyone recognises how single file it is?
Zella just touching the wall there in front of Wayne Burke. Good to see Berkey running inside the top 10. It all started with that good qualifying session, put himself right up there, and he's having it all into the fence. Now that's a missing splitter there. Ben Faulkner, he's going to get it going. Look at the marbles on the outside. We touched on that a little bit earlier. So whether he had some help, whether they were side by side, he lost a little bit of grip, we're not sure, but he'll push on now. Just that little bit of damage, he'll be able to bring it home over the next couple of laps.
Just been a penalty handed out to Jack Widdis for contact with Ben Faulkner on lap 6. So, an update there.
Here we go. OGG replay. Oh, he's gone in hot. Locked up the left front by the looks of it and into the tyre barrier. So, I touched on it. It's easy to do. I've done it plenty of times. I'm not a very good driver, but it's very easy to do with those little bumps here. It can sort of catch you out a little bit.
And the worst part is he found the fence too. Like, he wasn't in deep enough that he bailed, right? He was just a touch deep. The car just didn't brake the way that he wanted. And if he'd have recognised it sooner, he would have fired it down the escape road, flung it around and gone again. But it was a touch, only a touch deep.
That's what you said, Monaco, isn't it, for turn 1? That you either have to make the corner or bail. And unfortunately, you had a crack at making it. Didn't get away with it.
Righto. Still no changes inside of the top 9. I'm just having an eye at Jack Widdis at the moment. He's just had contact, traded a little bit of paint with Emily Jones. And some more as well. They're all banked up in behind Dylan O'Shea at the moment. This is deeper in the fields, back up inside the top 10. We're sort of having a flick back. And this is back to this battle I was just talking about. Jones has forced the cover.
She got a touch.
Lent on her. She tags the inside barrier. And now Jacob O'Reilly in the background is going to be brought into this one broad. So this is just inside the 30. Jones sits 24th on the road, covers to the inside.
Yep,
Widdis is going to try and go the long way round when they get down here to 7, and Jacob O'Reilly's in deep, but just gets tagged by Tyson Broad. Do they all come away with it? Just, they'll still trade paint. No. A little bit more of that. Now Broad is out and on the marbles. He can't quite pick it up. Ryan Jones is going to try and sneak the nose in underneath him. How this one? It started with the melee at the front. Now it's in the middle of this pack. Jones was so sideways on the entry to 11. Comes away with it. Sorono's going to pick up with a spot. Everyone else just slots sedentarily back in. I cannot believe there was only one spot changed in that.
It looked messy, it looked wild. I think Emily Jones was thankful that was all happening in her rearview mirror. Man, that was a lot going on, but they all got away with it. And like you said, only one position change, fair bit of action going on as we head into the last lap.
So no cars in the fence, one spot. No. That is supreme. That is professionalism from the supercars drivers here tonight. Your Logitech Pro Invitational Series. Haven't they put it on? And guess what? That's just the entree. There's some main course to come your way just after this one. For Jared Filsell, though, dining out on the garlic bread in the entree here tonight. Dylan Pereira's just on the road in front of him. That's the flash of the car you saw. Unfortunately for him, damage. But at the moment, Jared Filsell on top of the game is going to make it another race win. This makes it 4 from 4. And in half an hour, he'll get the opportunity to set sail and try and make it 5 from 5. Turn 13, out of there. Turn 14, he'll light him up. Because it doesn't matter at this point. A lot of control in it. Something's just happened to Brady Baldwin in the background as well. There was a call to race control on that one. But Jared Filsell, 4 from 4.
Yeah. Still not over down the rest of the field. Everyone's just coming to the checkered flag now. That was a clinic from Jared Filsell for the first race. 16 laps down for this one. We've still got another race to go, another qualifying session. And if that, like you said, if that was just the entree, the main is going to be very, very tasty indeed.
It's a replay from what happened to Brady Baldwin. Oh, there's a bit of chatter on the radio, and I heard something from Borg as well. So this will let us know that Borg was indeed involved. Ooh. That's a long way back to send it there.
Yeah, yep. Oh, got a clip on the outside too.
But the problem is, that's not really like, the send there should be to try and balk them so they don't get a run on the back straight. It's not about actually getting the run there.
Yeah, if you're making a dive and you can't commit and pull it up, then you got to cop a whack, I think.
Oh boy. Jared Filsell gets it done by 3 seconds over James Scott. Brady Myers and Andrew Gilliam are going to be, it's up for Josh Anderson, Malinson Down, Luke Rosella, Wayne Burke, Damon Woods, the only driver to change position inside the top 10. Cody Deeds gets in at the expense of Joe Stewart. Outside the 10 is going to be that of Zach Rattray White. Job Stewart drops the 2 spots back to 12th spot. Rick Kuznetsov actually got gains in that race, gained 5 spots to 13th, Ethan Green Gold, Jake Maloney, Dylan Rudd, Griffin Garner, Matty Bowler, Jordan Ross, and Adam Briggs round out your 20. Brenton Hobson outside of 20. Lachlan Capel gained spots in that one. Dylan O'Shea gained and lost. Emily Jones actually drove quite well to get up to 24th spot, particularly with a fair bit of paint treated. Jacob O'Reilly picked the spot off of Jack Wittes, who scores points for the first time this season in 26. Terry Serrano, Ryan Jones, Glenn Postlethwaite, and Kurt Stenberg, the 30. There's 43 cars in this field, so we're still going to keep going through this one. Haydenfeld, Shauna McNamara, Tyson Broad, Andre Eustace, Sebastian Vandell, Blackhall, Borg, Baldwin, Faulkner, and Robbie Gibbs rounding up the back end of the lead lap. And Faulkner and Gibbs had massive damage after incidents for them. Ian Ford as well put himself in the barrier, just couldn't quite pull the car up. Dylan Pereira does get the car home 2 laps down, will score points. Dylan Burse will not score points from this one.
Well, best bit is, tonight's not over. Normally we're almost ready to wrap up and head to final comments and talk about racing action, but we've still got one more race in front of us. How good's that?
Yep, another qualifying effort to come our race's way as well. Qualifying number 5 and race number 5 of the 2025 Logitech Pro Invitational. We're going to step away because we've got to pump ourselves back up. Race 2 of the evening. Can it match the first one? Does this become the main meal, or is it about to be dessert?
When I'm driving an F1 car, steering wheel feedback is one of the most important things. It helps me decide when to brake and how hard. It's how I feel the surface of the road. Every bump in the terrain, every wheel slip. If my tyres are starting to lose grip, I can sense that immediately. When I'm driving in a sim, I need that same tactility, that level of detail I have in a real car.
Racing games have come a long way in the last 20 years. Nothing's really changed in how we approach force feedback in all that time. Cutting-edge sims are now so realistic, drivers across all disciplines are using them for training. Our main goal when designing True Force was to improve the number of sensations that you actually feel, to put you better in contact with the car that you're driving so that you can improve your performance and that enjoyment of driving on a track. The physical feedback needs to be more immediate or accurate, or a player loses immersion or control.
Game developers are still having to recreate their force feedback from a set library of effects instead of deriving it from real-time modelling.
True Force is special because it levels the playing field for PC and console gamers. You're now getting the extra level of precision and detail that you need, regardless of which platform is your choice. This is not just iteration, it's total evolution. True Force force feedback works differently. It hooks directly into the physics engine of the game. Games already calculate the forces on the tyres and the steering wheel. The True Force algorithm is able to process this data at up to 4,000 times a second. It will even use the game's audio engine and pass it directly on to the driver.
We spend a lot of time as audio designers trying to make each car sound unique and as realistic as we possibly can. Being able to integrate the audio into the force feedback is something that we've wanted to do for a long time, and True Force enables us to do that. And the ability to send the audio to the wheel, to have it respond and vibrate with the loss of traction, really increases my ability to give that immersion to the player.
You can sense the changing surface of the road. You'll be able to feel if the back end of the car is losing grip.
The first time we had it running in the build, you could feel the wheel humming and vibrating as we revved the engine. Our immediate reaction was it really adds another level of immersion.
The first thing you're going to feel with a True Force wheel is the engine note. The minute the engine starts in the game, you will know exactly which car you are driving. True Force is the beginning of something new. This is now the foundation for all wheels that we'll produce in the future. This extra level of information gives everyone all the information they need to learn how to control their car better. True Force benefits any racing fan looking for a more realistic driving experience.
Because winning is all about feeling.
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
Well, after that little, I don't know, I was trying to find a good descriptive adjective for it, Sam. I'm going to reach into the books of words that aren't actually words. Popcorn Fest. Race that starts slow, popping builds up through the middle, and at the end, you get to enjoy yourself a nice, hot, preferably buttery and salted treat. I think that's about the best way to describe that one.
Thanks, mate. Now I've got the gif of Michael Jackson sitting there eating out of the box of popcorn through the head. So thanks for that. But you're right. That was great. A nice little warm up for what we've got in front of us now. We've got a 24 lapper. These teams will need to be thinking about fuel. Do they have to make a dive into pit lane? Do we see a safety car? There's so many things that can play out, but this time they're battling it out. And the stakes are a little bit higher. There's 133 points on the line for our race winner, as opposed to 67 points out of that first 16 lapper. So, I don't know. Tell us what you think. We were talking in the break that we quite like this sprint format. It spices things up a little bit. We'd like to hear your opinion too, because I think it's great.
I like that. I do like getting involved and getting a little bit of input from the fans as well, because I think it's quite important that we not just... You talk about listening to the drivers and what the drivers want, but I think the fans are actually a big part of it. Like, yeah, you've absolutely got to keep your drivers happy and because they put on the show. But if there's no show at the back end of it, but the drivers loved it, well, realistically, was it actually worthwhile going on? There's nothing for the sponsors to want to put their name on. It doesn't really look all that good. So I think it's important that right there, we're garnering a few perspectives on things. Well, just discussing as well, this format, we're unsure of will return, but the sprint format will return. Whether or not it's 2 qualifying sessions, that we currently do not know as we head deeper into the year, but it will come back to us for Road Atlanta later on in the year. And we've got our Enduro calendar as well. So, it's not over for the sprint format. If the double qualifying is accepted by the drivers in the community, you could see it return for Road Atlanta for round 8. We've got to go another 3 rounds before we get sprint racing back, Sam. I think that's too long.
Yeah, we talked about it in the opener as far as, you've got to try new things. And I think so far it's been quite good. We've seen a great race 1. We're fired up for race number 2. Now we've got a qualifying session ahead of us and see how the next 24 laps play out. Should be an absolute ripper before we head to Spa-Francorchamps. How good is that? June 25 for round number 5 of the series. Can't wait to get to Spa.
Well, let's leave that calendar up a little while longer because this is a conversation I've been picking people's brains about. We've got about a minute before we jump into our next qualifying session. Right, Sandman, that calendar stays the same. TBA, let's just say that that's the bend for now, right? Just to start things off. 3 tracks must come off that schedule. 3 tracks must go on. One of them is the track that's not on iRacing yet. What are you putting on that schedule? And I'll pass this to the fans as well at home, and why.
So the ones that aren't on, that have to go on. So you're talking like, obviously, Adelaide.
Well, Adelaide, okay. Yeah, Adelaide's a new track that's not on the service yet. So that, I mean... Now
you're talking about the tracks that are already on the service.
Yeah, on the service. Okay, give me 2 tracks. Adelaide's going on.
Dude.
Yeah, what are we throwing in there?
Oh no, but then see, I get excited about what else is to come. Obviously, you said you got the Bend, so that's a possibility. We've got Pukekohe too. Man, I'd love to see that on the calendar. That's not on the service too. There's so many terrific tracks out there. It's hard to pick and choose. I don't I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'd have to do some research on it, I reckon.
Do you reckon we'd ever get a Macau? Do you reckon supercars at Macau would be something that would be worth racing?
No. That's just my opinion. I like Macau. I think it's got its, it's definitely got its pros and cons, but it's a little bit Monaco-esque as well. But who knows?
Righto. Well, that's the question we'll be asking the fans along at home: is what do you want to see moving forwards? 3 new tracks that you'd have to add to that schedule. What would you pick? Obviously, Adelaide. I think everyone adds Adelaide to the schedule. That is just hands down. The Bend, I'm 50-50. I don't know if I like the Bend yet. We'll wait and see in a couple of weeks' time when we all get to drive it in anger when the new season comes to us. Here goes qualifying number 2 for the evening. First time in history for the series that we have had 2 qualifying sessions in a night. Group qualifying will be happening again. And the big thing as well, you only get 2 laps. That was what we learned from the first session. And track temp, we've gone up about 10 degrees since the end of that first race, about 8 degrees since qualifying.
Unfortunately, the threat of rain's gone down. It's at, 31% now. So, yes, I'll tell you what, it was interesting hearing Jared's thoughts, and I said this earlier, I would have been interested to see if this had been a wet weather race. That would have been very interesting to spice things up, but no doubt that will play a factor as we get to the Enduro season. But these guys have got enough on their plate as it is. We talked about the different track surfaces, the concrete, the tarmac, the bumps, the little bit of undulation in this racetrack that they've got to deal with. There's so many things for it to play out. They've got enough on their plate, and you throw in the rain, that could have been absolute chaos. But we were lucky with the weather gods today, I think.
Well, that's one way to make the racing a little bit different between the 2 sessions as well, is add a little bit of rain. That would have been unique. To have a full wet race and a full dry race, it would have just been, maybe it would have been lightly wet as well. Makes guessing your braking points, guessing your traction zones, everything just becomes a little bit of a guesswork as you try and work out the conditions.
And playing with setup too. Obviously, there's a difference with setup, between a wet car and a dry car. So something else to think about. And that transition from slick to a wet tyre.
Yeah, all of that challenging in the extreme. Something Jared Filsell talked about was needed to have a quicker outlap, so that you built a little bit of tyre temperature. But it doesn't need to be a pounding the pavement kind of outlap. It's got to be something that's a little bit warmer, so you've got some temperature in the tyres. Ryan Jones is going to be the first driver to set a lap this session. He will be the driver that will probably be following along with for the bulk of this lap. Work for Matthew Polar in qualifying 1. And
well, that's it.
Ryan, I mean, he's a media guy in the real world as well. Goes to racetracks, takes photos, works on media posts for teams, but he also does get behind the comms box for the microphone and commentary from time to time as well.
You were touching on about this qualifying. There's some race categories. Sometimes it's a benefit, or sometimes it's a disadvantage to be in separate qualifying sessions. But like you touched on, the times weren't too shabby in that first qualifying session we had, and for some of those drivers to still stay inside the top 10 for when the second part of quali came out, it's a testament to. So if you've got a decent car and you bank that time, it doesn't matter which session you're in, you can still play a factor in this qualifying session.
Just seen Hayden Belle dive out of the way. He's not going to set a fast lap time. Tyson Broad's the same, so they're going to dive back in a pit lane. Try and get out there reasonably early. For Ryan Jones, though, he is going to press on to the line, 31.770. So Some fall off we expected from the first session. I don't know, that feels maybe a touch too much. Matthew Bowler does improve, goes to a 31.3. That's a little bit more about where I expected it to be. So about 3/10, I think, for Matt Bowler. Actually, a touch more than that, 3 to 4 tenths worth of fall off between the two sessions. Pereira splits and goes to a 6.17. And apologies to the viewers at home. Data errors at the moment, as we're waiting for timing to come on through. But a few more mistakes being made in this session, which you can understand. When you go from a higher grip session to a lower grip session, you go in with a lot of trust on the brake pedal, and the grip's just not there for these guys. They're adapting at the moment. I tell you, actually, track temp's climbing. So if Wayne Burke just went through and set a 31.299, so track temp has certainly risen since we were last talking about it. This first group might be the best conditions in the session.
Oh, mate, can you imagine if it gets hotter? Here I was just saying that there's no real disadvantage, and then the old sunshine comes out, heats up the racetrack, and could make it very interesting for the second group. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that would be interesting nonetheless. So that's Glenn Postlethwaite we're looking at the moment, not Ryan Jones. As you can tell, Simring's DPR no longer on screen. We just get Ryan's gorgeous mug staring at us a little while longer. But still waiting for cars to feed back into pit lane. A couple of cars just went through. Ryan Jones, I think, went for a second lap. No, he didn't. He's in the pit lane now. Hayden Veld is just starting his... No, Jones did go for a second lap, actually.
Okay.
So Ryan Jones has gone for a second lap on that set of tyres. He pressed on. I think that's the wrong call. It might remove any opportunity to press to take a second lap if he's not careful. He might just have enough time. Hayden Veld actually just started a flying lap. Remember I said he cancelled his first lap? That's the group feeding out of pit lane at the moment.
Yeah, they're all just trying to give themselves just that little bit of real estate. They don't want to start tripping over each other. Obviously keeping an eye on the mirror if there's any fast guys around them that are already on a lap. But I think the majority of the teams, that, like you said, that they're out on fresh rubber now, and they'll have one more crack as we finish up this first session for qualifying. It's crucial, especially if you made a meal of that first lap or you didn't quite put it all together. It's important that you get the job done now, and that's when the pressure starts to rise. You know you've only got one more lap to have a go at it. Some people love that situation, some people hate it, but you really need to prep yourself and make sure you can get the job done if you want to be anywhere for tonight's results.
Well, I think this is an important point to make as well, is with the different track conditions, imagine having a bigger team. Worthwhile pointing out, Lobs Esports have not got a car in this first session. So in terms of talk about what's, the grip feel like, they won't have anyone who can actually test that. I believe the Chiefs Esports squad will have all of their cars in session 2 as well, so they'll also be impacted. All of the other teams should have one car in this session, at least to test something off of it, barring your privateers, so your Brian Borgs and your Jack Wittes and Tyson Braun, who's the only car from Drop Bear squad.
Can you imagine if there was a threat of rain and the other drivers in that second quali session would be stressing because these guys have got a dry track, and if there was a possible shower or two, that's when you start kicking yourself that you're in the second group. But thankfully they don't have to worry about that tonight.
That's just how it falls.
Yeah.
It is one of the things that will shuffle things up, but it's how you respond to that situation. If that will happen eventually. There is no.
Oh, one day. Yeah,
absolutely. When it is, I think the big thing is when that does happen. If it's at a split qualifying session track, you just got to adapt to it. The guys that don't complain and just get on with the job, they're probably the most successful.
Can you imagine if a quali session was split up into the slowest group first and the fastest group second, and the second group gets rained on? You got the fast cars coming from the back. That would be juicy, wouldn't it?
I'm a big fan of reverse grid racing. I'm a huge fan of reverse grid racing. I'd love it. Could you imagine we go to Road Atlanta later on in the season and it's full field invert?
Oh, jeez. You know it upsets people, don't you?
Oh yeah. The worst part is if you only invert half the field, well, the other half get really disadvantaged, don't they?
Yeah.
So I hate that. I'm down for a full invert. Just do it. Why not?
Might have to come up with an all-star race type deal and play with some theories and some races, hey?
There's a man, I've just thought of who I'm going to pitch that to. I'm absolutely pitching that. Well, look at what you've done. This is where all the good stuff happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the think tank for the Logitech Pro Invitational Series. No. All of this live thinking. The worst part is, never let me and Sandman in charge of a series. That would go. All-star races, full field inverts all the time, rain for half the race, rain for half the qualifying.
Yeah, I've lost access to my live timing, Scotty, so you're going to have to give us an update of what's happening on track.
Teo Serrano's managed to put a reasonable lap together. He goes to P3 at the moment, 31.457. Just waiting. I think Jake Blackwell might have just fed through. He might be on a lap at the moment. But these guys are charging out. There's 40 seconds left in the session, so anyone that's charging in pit lane at the moment won't get a lap in. I'm just taking a quick look. Everyone that's in this half of qualifying has already set a valid lap time. Matty Bowler actually sits P2 out of this group. And track temp's continuing to climb, by the way. This is the best conditions. Anyone who put that lap together in the first half of this session will have the best of the track temperatures for qualifying. That is just something they've got to deal with and how you handle that. Ryan Jones just goes and puts a stonker to the top of the board. Actually, my apologies. Hayden Veld just pipped him. So Hayden Veld will go to the top of the board, and that was right at the end of that session. Ryan Jones went a touch quicker, so there is still speed in the racetrack to be found. I think the tricky part is you spend the first half of qualifying testing the track and the second half going, okay, this is what I got.
Yeah, the problem is that first half and second half is lap 1 and lap 2, and then that's it. So some carnage, a little bit of damage to that car that was just on screen too. So that might be it for the first lot for qualifying as we wait for the second group to come out.
Group number 1, run and done. I tell you what, first half of qualifying, Hayden Veld 31.207, Ryan Jones 31.279, Wayne Burke 31.299, your top 3. So that time from Berkey, remember from the first session, held up really, really well. So there's every chance those 3 times could look very strong the back end of the session, particularly if that track temp continues to climb.
Yeah, there'll be split thoughts on that, won't it? The first group were saying, yes, please, let that temperature go straight up and scorch up a little bit more. And the drivers in that second group are going, no, thanks, can we just drop that a little bit? But it's Mother Nature's way of getting involved. And like you said, you've got to be ready for any situation that arises. So good to see Wayne Burke having a good run. He's had a bit of a tough start to season 2025. But to be sort of there or thereabouts and in the thick of it, I think he'd be quite chuffed with the way his night is going so far.
It's gone reasonable, hasn't it? You know, two strong qualifying performances. Even if that time doesn't necessarily stand up, he knows that he's going to be towards the front end of qualifying from this group. So, you know, the worst that he can sort of do is going to be 24th or so, which not too bad. He'd be very, very happy with that in the middle of the field. But then again, that middle of the field, that's where all the clustering started.
Yeah, certainly got spicy in race 1, didn't it?
We'll think there's a pit stop to come in here too.
So, yeah, and that's something that'll play on their minds too. Obviously, you know, a pit stop, you know, whether there's a safety car. We saw so many chances of a possible safety car in that race 1, but it never eventuated. We haven't seen that gorgeous, good-looking Logitech G safety car this season for 2025. We saw it. We did see it in the qualifying series, but not so much in the main game. So, will we see it for the next one? 24 laps to decide it, and there'll be a couple of teams praying on a couple of safety car laps just to help with fuel.
There you go. We have timing back. That is the first half of the field. Could you imagine we get a safety car on lap 1, lap 2? The fuel mileage is 16 laps, Soundman. And somebody just goes, you know what? I'm going to see if I can make this thing go 22 laps on fuel. That would just be amazing.
Yeah, good luck. I've never been a good fuel saver. I don't know about saving that much, but it would be interesting.
there'll be someone who'll do it too. If that happens, absolutely. If you're the last car on the lead lap, why not? Why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, so we've got about 90 seconds before qualifying 2 will be released from the pit lane. This time at the back end of the first qualifying session, they were all still... There was a couple of cars at least journeying around. That's why it might sound and look a little bit quiet out there at the moment. But Kurt Stenberg, I tell you what, he's qualified 15th from the second group, the first group of qualifying both times. So at least he's consistent.
He's consistent. And the times that we touched on it, overall qualifying for race 1, the entire field was covered by less than a second. Like, how impressive is that? And I think I said during the broadcast that's normally something we see at Watkins Glen. You know, it's drafting, it's a pretty quick racetrack, there's not much to it. But when you've got the amount of turns and the difficulty that this racetrack's got, when you've still got the field covered by less than a second, that's impressive.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen this time by. Tyson Broad set a 32.177, and he's down in 21st spot, which says to me we actually have a couple of cars that might not set times in that first group. And Hayden Veld set a 31.207, so we are separated by nearly a second in that first group. I would imagine we're going to be over a second in qualifying 2. And track temp's dipping again, so we didn't get our wish.
The drivers in session 2 did.
5 seconds. We're about to roll off from pit lane. There it is. Green flag's been issued at the end of pit lane. Here we go. Qualifying 2. And here come your top 22 in the championship. First bite at the cherry will be Jordan Ross. I said in the practice session earlier on tonight, he actually looked really, really good. And I was thinking he's on for a strong one, so I think he missed something in first round of qualifying. Madison down, Brenton Thompson with the 2 drivers in behind him. Not an overly hot racetrack here tonight, just a medium one. We had a cooler one for race 1, so it was cooled. It wasn't cold, it was cool. Race 2 is going to be a medium track. So who's got a better car for the conditions presented to you in session 1? Who's going to have a better car for the conditions presented in session 2? Who's going to be the big gainer?
And the thing to keep a mind for is qualifying from that first race was Jared Fieldcell with a 30.507. So at the moment in session 1, it was our pole currently is a 131.2. So there's a little bit of time to find, and it'll be interesting to see if weather plays a factor, whether, you know, Jared can get close to that 30.5 again. Time will tell, but they're now on it and already just over 8 minutes to go. So it's basically 2 hot laps. That's all they get. So they need to make this first bank account.
Yeah, so that first group mentioned Jordan Ross, Madison down, Brenton Thompson. The last driver out of pit lane, by the way, James Scott, he is way out and on his own at the back end. And if you're only going to get 2 laps running down that end of the field, at least you know you get 2 laps all to yourself. And I think that's what they're looking for here tonight. I don't think being a part of the group is the best thing that happens to you. How about Rick Kuznetsov, who sits the next car in line behind the gold machine? He had a great race 1. I feel like if he starts a few spots further up, he's potentially cracking the back end of the top 10.
You know, it's amazing what qualifying does. You know, it can be the cork in the bottle for you to have a decent result, isn't it? It doesn't take much. If you just miss out on a couple of positions and get held up throughout a race, it can really turn your night upside down. But, you know, you make up a couple of those spots and you sort of start to run with the front runners and the guys up towards the pointy end. It's amazing how obviously different your night turns into. Just not getting balked and having that little bit of clear air, and it can be a real game changer. You know, obviously qualifying, it's all about qualifying, but it's so crucial when you talk about 43 cars covered by under a second. Qualifying's everything.
Half a 10 can be 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah.
With the way this field is building at the moment. Haydenfeld's lap time at the moment still good enough to sit at the top. Is anyone going to try and challenge?
Ooh,
Yeah,
not
Jared
now.
Filsell, of course he does. But have a look at the difference between them.
Yes.
That lap from Veld is actually something. He's only dropped in 500 in behind, and Brady Myers goes up. Luke Rizzella finally gets a lap together this season. 1, 2, 3. Lobs Esports, they'll be happy with that run. James Scott, though, will come to the final couple of turns, and the Lobs crew are only covered by 500ths of a second as well.
That's incredible, those top 4 times. Absolutely nothing in it. Now, we touched on, you said Scott had that free air. Let's see how this works out for him. He's chasing a 1:31.105 for pole. He stops the clock, a 31.2.
So there and thereabouts, reasonable.
P6.
Reasonable, but not great for him. Capable of P2 in the first session. Ethan Briggold has not set a lap time as of yet. And for the number 7, on an out lap at the moment, he's cruising around. So he will try and get one together. Just having a quick look, Jacob O'Reilly only set the slowest lap. So he's only set a 1:36.778. They're all going to dive in the pit lane right here. So Jacob O'Reilly didn't set a valid lap time. Rick Kuznetsov, I did actually see him tag the barrier on that flying lap, so no valid lap time for him.
Zebra.
I'm not seeing Emily. No, I am seeing Emily Jones in this session. There was some chatter in the previous session about Emily not leaving the session, and they were a little worried about getting her across in time, but she is out there.
Yep, P18 currently at the moment. And this is Scott. I would imagine he'll dive straight back to pit lane and put on a fresh set of Dunlops.
Yep.
And he's enjoyed that clear air, so it hasn't been too disheartening for him. P6 is still not bad. He's only just over a 10th off pole, so he's liking that little bit of clear air and not having any distractions or anyone checking up in front of him.
Still trying to track down. We are missing one driver. One driver's not come across between the two servers. Not 100% certain who it is. We've only got 42 registered for this one.
Yep.
Now, the sessions should still be open for registration, so still capable of getting their way in. It'll be difficult to track down who's actually missing from the first session, so we'll have to wait and try and get some more information on that one later on. For the meantime, how good has this launch been for Eclipse Sim Sports?
Yeah.
You don't jump in and go straight to the top. That just doesn't happen.
Well, there was talk. Remember us talking about it in the qualifying series? It's like, yeah, they made an impact in the qualifying series, but how are they going to go when they match up to the rest of the field in the main game? Well, they've shown it. They've been impressive, haven't they, for a new team? And you know, it's good to see some fresh blood and fresh paint schemes and new teams and all the rest of it joining our series. And they've had it going on. It's been good start to 2025.
And an issue, no. What we're just hearing from Ryan Jones is
car in the fence.
He's right up in his 7 spots. Eclipse Sim Sports car. It's Damon Woods. Who's right up at the pointy end of things at the moment. Now he's just sit there because you can't pull that car out with the field truck. He'll be impacting lap times.
Yeah, well,
it's the whole. That was a whole maybe.
It's tricky. I mean, obviously the field know he's there. He'll try and get out of it now. He's just trying. That was good sportsmanship. He knew his race or his quali was over. He just did his best not to back into anyone. So looks like he just locked it up. Might have done it all by himself and just nosed it into the barrier. Hardly any damage to it, but unfortunately that's cooked his qualifying. Although there's 2 minutes, he can still get round and start again.
No, there would not be enough time because that was down at turn 3. So it's sort of a minute to get back to pit lane. And there's not enough time to get back to pit lane.
If he just pushes on with what he's got.
Yeah, maybe. That's a fair point. It'd be difficult to try and improve, though.
Yeah.
So, get an opportunity to have a look at what went on there. I guarantee it's going to be pretty much what we've seen down here at turn 3 all night.
Lock it up.
Yeah.
Just locked up front. Yeah, just nosed into the barrier. The OG gear
Griffin
replay.
Gardner.
Jared Philsell has gone to the top of the timesheets with a 30.9. And to say that, Gilliam, he's just pipped him with a 39.08. So still finding time.
James Scott, what has he got? There's a few drivers, and now one more driver's popped ahead of James Scott, pushed him down to 7th spot. Who's going to find something?
Oh, he's hit the wall. Scott just hit the wall on exit.
Is there enough in it? He'll continue on with the lap because he hasn't got enough time to put another one together. So for James Scott, last couple of corners, somebody else has just improved and slotted inside that top 10 as well. I think it was Josh Anderson who went to P6. 275 didn't count, didn't improve for him. Jake Maloney was quick in that first qualifying session. He's now on his way through. Brenton Hobson's doing better in Q2 than he did in Q1. Couple spots gained for the Synergy Sim Sports driver. Waiting for Maloney's time to pop through.
What's Goldmember got for us? Hobbo, has he improved his time?
No. Not for him. And Robbie Gibbs is going to dive in a pit lane. That was an aggressive entry. And he would like very much that one was covered up behind the screens. Because that was a wild pit lane entry.
There from Maloney.
Flag is out. We are done in terms of qualifying. You've got to be on a lap to get a lap. Kuznetsov managed to settle up, gets to 15th. Cody Deeth will start no better than 10th. He'll be hoping that nobody improves behind him for now. Brady Myers went to P5. He did improve slightly, 35th to 24th at the moment for the driver that just crossed the line in behind Myers. Somebody else just improved. So it was Jordan Ross, I think, who found time. No, Jordan Ross is on a lap at the moment. Jacob O'Reilly improved to 24, so he actually took a big swing at that one. James Scott's coming to the line at the moment. Will he improve? 31.177.
We did.
Does improve to 7th spot, but worse than qualifying 1, so a better car in the cooler conditions from the 088.
Pushing on with it. I think he's still having a go. Whether he's going to improve on his time.
This is might be a practice pit lane entry.
Yep, you're right. So Gilliam with a 30.908 over Jared Philsell with a 30.949. How good is that? Your top two.
More importantly, Griffin Gardner finds a little bit of form in qualifying and qualifies right back up at the pointy end of things. Remember his best qualifying performance last year, I think Road America, where he qualified on the pole and then damage on lap 1 and he just trundled back around. So for him, great opportunity. Right, Lobs Esports, round out your front row and lock it out. But it's not the order that we've seen thus far from this team. Andrew Gilliam will put it on pole position. The engineer gets the job done over teammate Jared Philsell. Philsell leads the way in the championship, but can Gilly finally tag one back? Griffin Gardner becomes the fastest Chiefs Esports driver for session number 2. Luke Rosella will make it all 3 Lobs Esports drivers inside of the top 4. That time coming on his first lap of the session. Round number 3 is going to be that of Zach Rattray White, who puts a stunning qualifying performance together for himself. Remember, this could be his opportunity to finally snag that podium that has been begging and begging and begging. Brady Myers will qualify to his outside. James Scott only able to get to 7th in qualifying 2. Josh Anderson alongside of him, and rounding out your top 10. 2 drivers from the first session of qualifying. It's going to be Hayden Veld and Ryan Jones. And Ryan Jones passed on a message to production behind the scenes, said, I'm scared. So this would be a difficult little spot for him to be starting. 10th spot's going to be where all the fighting is. He's in for a world of fun. Cody Death and Madison Down are going to be outside of your 10, 3/10 off the pace for these guys. Wayne Burke, again, reasonable qualifying effort for him. 13th spot in session number 2. Matty Bowler will line up alongside of him. Both of those drivers as well from Group 1 from Q2. Damon Woods put it in the barrier and ruined his attempts at a quick time. He'll get through to 15th. Rick Kuznetsov will line up alongside of him. Both of these guys will probably think they can press forward from where they are. Dylan Rudd is going to be out of 17th, about where he started for race number 1. Brenton Hobson does improve a couple spots to line up alongside of him. Jake Maloney is going to start out of 19th spot. Emily Jones is going to improve 11 spots to start out of 20th. I think she will be the biggest gainer between the two qualifying sessions. 21st spot, Teo Sorono alongside of Job Stewart. Job did not get the qualifying performance he was looking for. He slides in Q2 here tonight. Ethan Grieg-Galt will be the next driver, and he's his teammate. So clearly the ERT setup not working for those guys. Normally you would see Grieg-Galt be one of the top running drivers at the end of qualifying from that team. He sits deep in the pack. 23rd, Jacob O'Reilly alongside of him. Good opportunity for O'Reilly to press forward. Sebastian Vandel and Lachlan Capel off of row number 13. Row 14 will see Jack Widdis and Brian Boyle, two privateers, albeit working together a little bit for racecraft simulations at the moment. 29th is going to be Adam Briggs, a little bit deeper in the field. Again, not necessarily the qualifying he was looking for. Ben Faulkner will be out of 30th. Dylan Pereira is out of 31st, and Sean McNamara will line up alongside of him. 16th row of the grid for these guys. Jordan Ross, 33rd. Not going well for the City Sim Racing squad, unfortunately, tonight in Ford alongside of him. Robbie Gibbs just can't get it together tonight. He's been statistically the best ERT driver in the Gen 3 car. 35th in the field. Kurt Stenberg will line up alongside of him and hope to press forward. Andre Youssef and Dylan O'Shea. Again, Dylan O'Shea's just not meshed. Another driver that's gone backwards in Gen 3. And Glenn Postlethwaite and Brady Baldwin will round out our top 40. 42 cars to take to the start. Jake Blackhall and Tyson Broad, the two outside of the 40. We're going to get an opportunity to chat to tonight's Race 2 pole sitter. And talked to you a couple of weeks ago, Gilly. We mentioned you finally found some pace. The thing is all starting to click. And Jared actually just said to us, you got a new rig as well. So, mate, that's all working well for you. We'll be quick with this one, I promise.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked with that one. Debut for the 180 Hz monitors. So, yeah, that's come together really nicely, and I've gotten up to speed with them quicker than I expected. I sort of was a bit uncomfortable in race 1, but I'm glad we had that first race, and hopefully I can just lock in from the get-go on this one and work with the teammates here and walk away from the field a bit.
I think the biggest thing I hear in your voice, and this will be the last question I asked you as I'll let you go, you sound quiet, cool, calm, and confident. There's no nerves or anything at the moment, mate, so that's a very, very good sound.
Yeah, no, the job isn't done yet. It's like a nice little, the excitement was kind of gone like 20 seconds after realizing I got pole, because now I'm starting at the front row of a grid at a very slippery Belle Detroit circuit. So yeah, I've got to really lock in and focus now and execute the best 24 laps I can.
All right, mate, get out of here, go and have fun, and good luck, and hopefully we're chatting to you in 24 laps.
Beautiful, thank you guys.
Righto, ladies and gentlemen, that is Andrew Gilliam, who grabs himself a play seat, pole position, gets it done in this one. And he, like I said, sounded quite calm, confident. There was no buzz, there was no nerves. He just feels in control.
Yeah, well, like I said, he knows he's on pole. He's in the best starting position possible. And I think the thing that takes the pressure off just a tiny bit is you've got a teammate next to you. You know he's not going to door you straight into turn 1. So, you always do breathe a sigh of relief when you've got some friends rather than foes around you. But it's all about the start. And, it's just eyes forward, get the best start he can. And 24 laps later, hopefully he's done everything he can and takes away some silverware.
Well, I've got good news for you. You don't have to wait long. 5 seconds now until those lights will start to come on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sprint Racing's return in 2025. Detroit Belle race number 1 was an action fest in the mid-pack. What's it going to deliver to us with a pit stop in race 2? Run to turn 1. Here we go. From the front end of the field, has Gilliam got the guts? Yes, he does. Gets the power down, gets a reasonable launch. He will lead quite comfortably into turn 1. Griffin Gardner slots into 3rd. Rosella back to 4th. And Zach Runstray White gets into 5th. A little bit of contact. Somebody out wide. 3 wide through turn 2. This isn't going to end well. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Someone's in the fence just at pit exit as well, too. So someone was nosed into the barrier. Looks like everyone else has managed to get through here. Oh, what a great angle. 3 wide through there. They managed to get away with it. Someone's gone down the escape road. Smart, though. You don't... Oh, his car sideways. They've managed to gather it up. Oh, into the fence. So a little bit of contact. Didn't see which car that was, but smart driving there. Someone shot up the escape road to push on for another lap.
Well, it's Andre Youssef, and the car that fed sideways and out ejected at turn 3 was Ethan Greer Gold. So he didn't qualify well, and then something happened on the run to turn 3, and he just couldn't get it pulled up, and he recognised so early, so he got out of there. That's Youssef as he fires the thing back up. Jack Widders has had issues as well.
Oh, no! Drama on the back straightaway. There's a couple of cars. This might be a safety car.
Brian Ball.
Oh! They got away with it. Youssef on the scene, comes around the corner and sees a couple of cars parked in front of him, managed to dodge a bullet. Looks like there'll be no safety car. Everyone's managed to get away.
Wow. I thought finally, after so much asking, we might get that BMW safety car out there. Still, no. We're looking at Rick Kuznetsov's start as he feeds down into turn 1. Up and over the curb, and it's the car ahead of him. It's got nothing to do with him. It's just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. Innocent bystander. Thankfully, he hasn't got much damage from it, so he's just going to pluck a gear and get on with it. But, man, might have done him a favour. He got out of that drama. There was a couple of cars with a fair bit of panel damage for this first opening lap. But, man, we've survived. No safety car for lap 1, but there's still 23 laps to go.
How can we... No. What do we have to do? Who do we have to send out there? Sam, you might have to jump in one of these things to try and trigger a safety car at this rate, because it's not coming to us.
Guaranteed safety car if you've got this Muppet behind the wheel, I tell you. So these guys know what they're doing. I'll leave it to the professionals, but it's been great racing throughout the season, and, you know, tonight's no different. We've managed to get away, safety car clean so far. And good racing. Up front, it's Gilliam and Phil Selt. They're opening up that margin to nearly 2 seconds over Griffin Gardner.
Yeah, a couple of cars at the tail end of the field. Ben Faulkner and Dylan Rudd. Unfortunately for Ruddy, title defence continues to go down the gurgler, and I think at this rate, I don't see a path back to it. He's just too deep in the field. So, unfortunately for Dylan Rudd, he's had a strong 2024. Whether or not he can transition that in 2025. And I can hear a producer that is making so many sounds, and it's over this replay in the background. Witters just gets rotated.
It's still probably not over yet there. Oh, yep, there we go. Just tried to dive through that gap. Didn't quite get clear. Nosed into the barrier. Whew. And everyone got going again.
Well, do you think race 1 made everyone recognise what they had underneath them and how aggressive they had to be?
Here we go. More action on the OG Gear replay as we watch Dylan Rudd. Oh, it's just nose to tail. Everyone's just trying their best, man. Right now. Oh, bang. Fired into the wall. Bang.
Oh, collected.
Behind. Yeah. And it's still all happening behind him as well. Oh, drama on the front straight away.
That'll be a safety car. That will be. There's no way you get that car to... Yeah. 27's just called for a tow. And Jordan Ross is... So Tyson Broad and Jordan Ross, we will have a safety car. And remember how we were talking about pit windows? We are in that weird window.
Brady Baldwin, he's got massive
no
damage.
Car. He's done.
Yeah. Looks like he's got left front damage there. So will these guys, Jared Philsell...
Do you come to pit lane?
That's what I'm thinking.
You're silly. I think you're silly not to.
Will someone roll the dice? Like you said, it's closed, lap 3. We haven't seen a safety car called yet. But there it is, just as I say that. So these teams will be thinking about it. They wanted... This is the first time we've seen the Logitech G safety car for 2025. Now these teams will be thinking about diving into pit lanes, getting that splash of fuel to make it. Can they go the distance?
Well, this is the thing. You don't want to give up track. But have a look at the Lobs Esports guys. Both stay out. Someone's going to dive into pit lane.
Someone's got to. You'd think, wouldn't you? It's a long way to go, though. Oh.
Brady Myers is in. Josh Anderson's in. So it's a TTR. Madison down.
Good boys.
Oh, boy.
Love it. Love it. Well done, TTR. That's great. Someone's rolling the dice.
I don't know what to think of this call. I do not know. And Jordan Ross just gets driven through.
Oh, bang! Drama! Massive drama on the streets of Belle. Unbelievable, huge damage. We thought it might have only been a 1 or 2 car incident, but there was plenty of people involved.
Well, when it happens there, that is the fastest, nearly the fastest section of the racetrack. It's the fastest, most dynamic for the car because you're trying to corner over a kink right there. And there's nowhere you can go.
Sorry, mate. Exactly. I was going to say it. It narrows up. You watch this onboard. It narrows up when these cars get sideways on this racetrack. Oh, it clips the fence there. Gets a touch from behind. Oh, I don't want to be in the steward's box for that one. But how's this? TTR's rolled the dice. They've rolled the dice. They've made a pit stop. It's a long way to go for fuel, though.
This is the onboard from Brady Woodman. That's Tyson Board directly ahead of him. Just watch. Watch. They can see there's something coming, and there's just they couldn't have gone anywhere.
Well, I reckon we've got better vision up on this camera than what the drivers do in the cockpit. So we probably saw more what was going on than he did. It would have been a massive surprise. He would have known there was drama ahead, and unfortunately just had absolutely nowhere to go.
Alright. So we're going to get another look. Again, keep your eyes there on the cover. Keep your eyes in that direction. You're looking for the smoke up and over there.
And he went the right way, and then the car got drilled and just shot. He had absolutely nowhere to go.
Where do you go? I wonder if our producer can get me in slow-mo just before that one, a breakdown of it. Because the thing is, when you get into these sorts of situations, you've got a decision to make.
Well, he made the right choice. He made the right choice, but unfortunately the car got clipped, and then it fired the car left. So the car was going right. He saw that gap open up, and then unfortunately he gets clipped.
2 choices: slow down and go this way, slow down and go this way.
So he goes, yeah, I'm sweet.
There's the hole.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to get through the... Oh no. There's nothing you can do.
Yep. Just a passenger. Bang.
And look at that.
So...
about 3/4 of a car length. Right there. Not enough to get through.
Not going to fit. Well, this has certainly made things just that little bit more spicy, hasn't it? A few teams, not just TTR, there's a couple other teams that have rolled the dice and done a pit stop as well. So when we go green, there it is, that gorgeous looking Logitech BMW safety car. We've finally seen it.
Your next question to our producer is, can we get a few lovely, gorgeous shots of this? We've waited so long to get it out here. You were talking about how much you love the look of this car and how pretty it is.
Well, to the point, I had it in the G-Hub, and then I stopped showing it because we just weren't seeing it. And then here she is tonight. But I'll tell you what, this is going to make things spicy now. Lap 5 of 24, a couple of teams have rolled the dice, got their fuel on board. If this goes green all the way, these teams still have to pit, and they're going to lose a lot of time in pit lane under green conditions.
Can somebody get the bookmakers on the line? Because I want to know the odds if Sandman does the G-Hub and then safety car appears. Because does the G-Hub, no safety car. No G-Hub, 1 safety car.
Yeah, unfortunately we missed out on the G-Hub tonight. I'm not firing on all 8 cylinders. I dropped a cylinder, but the boys didn't box me, and I haven't locked it up and put it in the fence yet. So hopefully we can last another 20 laps and I'll be good.
Yeah. You're in here because I need you to score commentary box points tonight, right? So, all right, let's talk about the numbers. 22 cars have decided to stay. Actually, it's 23. Jack Widdis actually stayed out of the pit lane. He also did not dive in, but he sits 25th on the road. So 23 cars. There is a perfectly even split in this field if we had a full field. Just less than half the field have decided to pit. First driver who pit, Brady Myers. Guess where he's mired? 23rd on the track.
Puns are thick and fast around here, aren't
Yeah, mate, it's car racing. If the puns weren't fast, they wouldn't be anything.
Safety car looks like it's gone ahead, and we're ready for a start. So safety cars head to pit lane. Gilliam, Phil Sell, I touched on, they had that gap out to nearly 2 seconds over Griffin Gardner. That's all changed now. It's all about the restart zone.
Critical lap number at the end of lap lap 8, you can get home. You got to get to the end of lap 8. So these guys are probably going to save somewhere in the realms of 4 laps of fuel. But do you try and press on with that? It'll be a splash in it for everyone else. You don't take tyres anymore. You won't have time. The other side of the coin is, do you take tyres or you try and have a crack at a few people? You might lose a couple of spots, but if you can make it up.
Spicy, baby. Spicy.
Oh, boy. And this one colloquially gets referred to as the Long Beach situation. Anytime in the commentary box, there's more contact when we get down to turn 3, because of course there is. What about the guys that are fuel saving? We keep an eye out for Brady Myers, who was the first of those guys at the moment. He's chilling. He is not pressing on at all, by the way.
Doesn't need to. Yeah, he just needs to save fuel. Let the guys around him race. They're all going to push as hard as they can. They know they're going to make a pit stop. So the amount of time that they're going to lose in pit lane if this thing stays green, it'll work in Myers' favour. He's got a long way to go to save fuel.
36 and 37 stay out there and on the lead up. Jacob O'Reilly and Dylan O'Shea both had damage but managed to keep the cars out there. Ben Faulkner's on pit road at the No, Ben Faulkner is back out there 1 lap down. He did manage to get the car. Everybody else behind him, I think, is retired done for the day. So Tyson Ball, Brady Ball, Jordan Ross, Dylan Rudd, all 4 of those guys done for the day. Hayden Veld, think about him, up inside the top 10, sits 8th on the road at the moment. It's a really, really good opportunity for him. Top 5, elected to stay out. None of them have changed positions yet again. This has got so many implications, Sam, and we could finally see a first non-Jared Filser winner, our non-Lobs esports winner. If the strategy call was the right call, Brady Myers could be the winner, but he's got to stay clean through the traffic.
It's still, he's got to manage that fuel too. It's a long way to go to save fuel, but he's rolling the dice and having a crack. There's a tale of 2 races going on. Which camp do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the teams that have stayed out, or do you want to be on the teams that have already made that pit stop? It's so interesting. I love the way this is going. I hope there's no safety car just to see how this thing plays out under green conditions.
So they pit at the end of lap 3, and there was 2 laps of safety cars thereafter. Right? Well, sorry, yeah, 2 laps of safety car. So we went green at the end of lap 5. So realistically 2.5 laps. That's somewhere in the realm of about 8 litres of fuel that you've got to save. Now, in the old car, you could do it. That was pretty doable. Everyone would have done it. The new car, it burns a lot of juice.
But the thing that they've got in their favour is that they can just be careful. They can really roll out of it. Oh, how's the nose to tail there as we take this drone shot over the corner? They've really got to manage their fuel now because they know the leaders are going to lose a lot of time in pit lane. Just trundling down pit lane without a stop. So, that's going to take enough of it. I didn't get a time frame on what a trundle down pit lane is, but you're obviously better off if you're out under green conditions, but it's about saving that fuel.
It's one of the short pit lanes that we're going to encounter on the season, and the other thing is it's also one of the slowest sections of the racetrack, so you actually don't lose as much time as you would anywhere else. So that's worthwhile noting. And there's a couple of corners in between pit lane exit as well. So, yeah, the pit lane losses, this is the lowest that we're going to encounter across the course of the season. Ethan Greengold, think about him. He fired off at the end of lap 1. There's big damage in front of his race car. But he's pit. He's on the strategy. He could still be in this. I don't believe it happened.
I love these onboard shots, just listening to the throttle with these guys, just trying to get the power down. This gives you a bit of indication of what Berkey's up against. They'll go quiet through the centre section here and listen to the throttle. Just listening to him, feeling the throttle, just trying to time it right to get the power down and obviously not make contact with Job Stewart, who's in front of him. Oh, you can see Job just moving around a little bit. Oh, he gets nice and close. Will he have enough to run into turn number 1 up the inside? No,
not quite. Not quite. But the other thing that's worthwhile talking about now is, all right, if you think you're not going to know it, how late into this do you run? And the reason I say that is, we're now on the crossover point where you might just be able to take tyres or might not. There might not be enough room to take tyres. You might actually lose a spot to take tyres compared to someone. It'll only be 1 or 2, but it won't be very much time it will lose at the moment. It's right on that window.
For me, we all know I'm not a very good race car driver, that's why I'm in a commentary box, but I probably want to go long. I want to know, if I'm out the front, I want another safety car, ideally. It's the teams down the back that have already made that pit stop. They don't want a safety car. As we go to the OG gear replay, this is a dive up the inside. This is a move for P3. Nice and clean, very gentlemanly. So
That
Lobs,
now
1, 2,
puts-
3.
Yeah, Lobs Esports cars 1, 2, 3 on the road. They were taking photographs of that and saying, look what we've done, look what we've produced, because I agree with them, they need to celebrate it. I think compared to the first couple of races, I think the field's closer, I've got to be honest. I think they're starting to be tracked down.
Well, there's teams and drivers that are getting their head around this new Gen 3 car too. So obviously as the time goes on, a lot of people are racing in other series. They're doing a lot of testing offline. So they're coming to grips with this car. So that gap is now just going to get closer and closer with the front runners. And we're going to see some brilliant racing come the end of the year.
Yep. Think about Bathurst, think about Sandown at the back end of the championship. Think about our to-be-advised track at the back end of the championship. Glenn Postlethwaite's going to dive out of the queue early, and if you mired in traffic, not a bad idea to jump out of the queue. Posy was 39th at the end of qualifying, and he pit from about 22nd or so, so he had gained a significant amount of time. Now he's going to drop this pit stop. He's going to pop him. He's going to pop him off the back end of the queue, not too far off the back end of it. I'll tell you what, if they get spicy, and they are getting spicy around 24th spot at the moment, Jake Maloney, Ian Ford, those sort of guys, Emily Jones, Kurt Stenberg, Jake Blackwell, all right there.
There you go. So in the vicinity of 30 seconds you lose going down pit lane. Very interesting.
So
that was yeah, I was very keen to see what that time loss was going to be. So that's something that the teams will be thinking about, and whether they, obviously you still need to be close enough to make that pay off and save fuel at the same time.
Brady Myers is about 15 seconds off the race lead. He's losing about 1.6 seconds to race leader Andrew Gilliam. So if that gives you anything to sort of start working off, I think that was Greek Gold. We're just having a look at this in the battle pack. With Blackwell, Stenberg, Jones, they all pit.
And they can probably go to what, maybe 17 or 18 now? 18 or 19 possibly, you reckon?
20. I reckon they can get minimum
20?
to 20.
Yeah. Interesting. So
But the other
15.8
side of the coin,
seconds.
if you've got, well, somebody's just dived out of that queue. It's Jake Blackwell's coming for a second pit stop. So he's already recognised he can't make it, and Rick Kuznetsov's going to dive in as well, which means the guys that dive to the lane, it's not going to work. They're going to lose bulk spots.
This is another safety car. That's the only thing that could probably bring it back into it. But I think for me, I probably still want to roll the dice and wait to see if that safety car. But I guess if you know that your numbers, you definitely aren't going to make it, do you just bite the bullet and pit like they have, or do you try and hang it out for a safety car?
Interesting. Yeah, this is just, there's so many bits and pieces that are going on board at the moment. This is side by side between Cody Deeth and Matthew Belle, and I think Belle is just going to yield. No, he's not going to yield. He's going to drop a little bit of paint, lean on him and lean on him and lean on him, and gets back down the inside. Still hangs on to it.
Job, boys. Did that without getting into each other. That was great.
I thought he was gone for sure. I thought Cody Deeth had that one by, you know, he was a day late and $1 short trying to get it back down the inside at 11, but he got the job done out the other side. Cody Deeth smacks the wall, gets into pit lane. He says, right, I'm giving up on this.
Yeah, tear off the Band-Aid, get it over and done with. But it's still Gilliam and Phil Self up front.
Lap times are critical here. They've fallen off by over a second. Our front runner's fastest lap of the race, 31.281 for Jared Filsell. He just ran a 32.271. So lap times are falling off significantly.
And what's Myers doing? He's doing 32s. So all that margin now, 17.3 seconds.
Well,
interesting.
It's less
isn't
than
it?
1.5, but
Yeah.
it's close.
But then
so we're making some gain
swings,
back.
it swings and roundabouts too, because obviously once these guys pit, they're going to be able to push as hard as they want.
I feel like you've got to take tyres now, and the other reason you take tyres is if you only gain 1 or 2 seconds, well, we've fallen off 1 or 2 seconds already, so you'd gain it back comfortably. I tell you what, we need to pick one of these cars that are fuel saving and go for a ride on board. We just did all the work to go for a ride on board with cars that aren't fuel saving. Myers is lifting off a mile early. Yeah, Greg Galt's got damage on the front end of his car, but he's in this pack.
He's in a position where he sort of has to roll out of it because he's nose to tail here.
But more than that, he's got so
Yeah.
much damage in his race car, he's not going to gain. So Stenberg is a really, really good watch.
Doing
Evolution
ERT.
race. Yep.
Yep. They're all decided to fire off into pit lane. And this is the point too. If you, oh, listen to, he's clutching. So Stenny's clutching there. Let's listen again coming into this next braking zone.
Is he actually going to go back at him? Yeah, I didn't think he would.
No, he's shutting it off. See his finger? He was shutting it off. That onboard camera where you can see him at the wheel, he was actually turning it off and saving whatever fuel he can. How cool. That was a great insight. Great work, Jay, there. We can see that onboard of Stenny just behind the wheel.
Oh, hang on. We might be getting a safety car. Sean McNamara's in the back. No, he's still moving. He's still moving.
Keep going, Sean. Yep. Bit of damage, though, to that right front. And that's heart and mouth stuff for the guys that are saving fuel. They don't want to see a safety car.
Well, do you? Because everybody else will pit for sure.
Yeah, but they're going to pit. They're going to come at fresh tyres, and you still might have to
Sure.
save fuel towards the end. So,
But your tyres will cool off when you get back in there. So Sean McNamara, what's going on? Because there's no one around it. Oh, it's
Not
the
a
guys
rejoin.
feeding back in.
No. Oh, he got served too. So he cut across some. I mean, it was close on exit, but looks like he got a serve as well on the OGB replay.
I'll tell you what.
Needs to be a little bit of give and take. I know that's just where pit exit is, but yeah, leave that up to Stewart's.
Well, he wasn't 100% clear. Will be the car on the outside, but should he slot in? Either way, Brady Myers is making more gains back. So this will be the critical shot. Is how far alongside. So he'll know that he's out there on the field. It isn't the triple on the Toyota running. I reckon McNamara's pinched him.
Yeah, he has, but then it looks like he's been finished off as well too. So anyway, we'll leave that up to the stewards. So this front pack, lap 14 of 24, these guys still need to pit. And Brady Myers now finds himself in P10. 18.9 seconds. We talked about that loss down pit lane. It's going to be about 30 seconds. So
Well, the gain and loss is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
yeah, I think
So
as this
it
race
was
goes
under a
on,
second.
it's probably favouring the guys that haven't pitted yet. It'd be interesting.
And the critical factor is for those guys that are up front, if we can get a track map up at the moment, the reason that I'm talking about all of this is what you're looking for is you're looking for a bit of a gap to pit into, right? If we can get the cars circulating out on there.
Yeah.
So have a look at where Gilliam is up at the pointy end right now. So if he gets around here to turn 5, which is going to be here, and the margin is that this might be the hole. That might be the margin. It'll be something close to that. So what Gilliam's targeting is this gap that's in right here that he's trying to pit in, but he's not far enough ahead. He can't pit into that gap. So these guys pit at the moment. See this order traffic from here to here? There's no gaps there. You're going to pit and come out in the middle of that, and you'll lose lap time. So they can't pit yet. That's what they're waiting for.
Yeah, well, the point they're at too now, you're going to run it dry. You're going to move up the inside here, nice and clean from the boys, but they're going to run these tanks dry in the case of it. They may get a late safety car. But and it's exactly what you touched on. They want to get that little gap too, that if they can just slot back in and rejoin, these guys are just racing their own race, trying to push as hard as they can, run these tanks dry, and if a safety car comes out, they will be cheering.
A little bit of a tap on the wall now. Gilliam's starting to come under some pressure from teammate Jared Filsell.
Here we go, they're in.
They're both in. All right, so they
they're
found the
gonna go
gap that they're targeting.
Yeah. So they feel they can probably slot into that gap. So that difference now, Myers, it was about 20 seconds by the time they got in the lane. So, and don't forget, Myers is still going to have to save fuel to the end of this, where the other guys can just full throttle.
That 22 right there. That's the car that they're all thinking about. As he feeds down in, these are by car numbers, not by positions on the racetrack. Where do they come out? So he's ahead. Myers is ahead. That whole host of cars are ahead, but they're not ahead by as much as they thought they were. Gilliam's going to hang on to track position. There was a hole to feed into. They're 7th and 8th. They've got work to do, and they've got 9 to go to try and get it done. And Jared Filsell, if he's looking for a race win on his teammate, that might have been the opportunity as well. So he just had to go at him around the outside, recognised it wasn't going to happen. The problem is now they can't afford to fight. If these guys are going to get through the traffic and get back to the head, they're just going to, Jared's just going to go, you know what, I've got to finish P2 tonight. Because if we get back to 1 and 2, that's a win. We've got to take that.
Yeah, that's it. And the points lead that Jared's got, he doesn't need to win. A P2 is still great. Everyone wants to win, but a P2 is great. What they need to do now is just push as hard as they can. They've got fuel to burn. So they are going to close down that margin, I think, on the likes of Brady Myers fairly quickly. There's not a lot in it. And so these guys will now just be pushing.
Margin to the race leads about 15 seconds. We've got 9 laps to go. Last time by for Wayne Burke, who leads the field, 33.3. For Brady Myers, 33.8. So to Burke, he lost half a second. Fastest lap times of the session, 31.2. I reckon these guys can maybe squeak into the 30s, which means they'd be taking 14 seconds a lap. Out, Kurt Stenberg's in and amongst it. He's just been hit a couple of times.
Now, that might have been a case of him turning off the engine and maybe trying to save fuel. Someone might have just gotten to the back of him unintentionally. Obviously, him checking up to try and save as much as he can might have been a bit of nose to tail. We haven't seen a replay yet. Big drama! That was a hard hit into the outside concrete barrier, and it's still going on behind him. Another hit! That's 2 hits. Cody Deeth. Man.
And it's Hayden Belle that was just ahead of him. They both copped a big old whack to the fence. What have they got back underneath them? And Stenberg's still on the clutch. It's going to be Damon Woods just sent a big old dive bomb up the inside because he's got to. So you can't just defend for everything in Stenberg's because you've got nothing to defend with, but you've also got to try and finish off your race. Knight leans on Joe Stewart. Ryan Jones tries to cut his way through. Oh boy. Oh no.
It's getting spicy. That margin between Gilliam and our race leader Brady Myers is just over 3 seconds. This is a replay here. Stenberg, we know he was saving fuel. Was it a little bit of nose to tail from him checking up? Oh, it was. Might not have been the fact that he was just trying to save fuel, but he was. We knew he was switching off, but unfortunately got that tag. But this is where the race is at. Now, do we get TTR playing the game where they're just going to try and make things a little bit difficult for the Lobs guys?
Well, Gilliam's trying to cross over Madison down at the moment. They are back to 4th and 5th, so it's not worked out. I don't think the fuel strategy is going to work. There's still too much time on the clock, and there's the question mark over whether or not you can make it. So Gilliam's right there, and if Jared Filsell's going to make a move, this is how he'll set it up. Down covers him to the inside. Filsell might try and check up a little bit here and get the run out the other side. He builds a little bit of a run, still in the back of him, still in the back of him. Here comes Filsell. Filsell's going to go alongside Andrew Gilliam. I'm sure we're going to be 3 wide when we get down to the braking zone down here because Madison down must save fuel. Must save fuel. Somehow, Andrew Gilliam comes away with this one. He's looking for the crisscross. Now his teammate leans on him. He's in hot. Here comes Filsell. Between 4 and 5. No. They get into each other again. Filsell cops the whack. Gilliam back ahead. Oh, after all of that, we're back in the order we started the lap in. No one can get the drive out of turn 6. You're kidding me.
Madison down, flying the flag for his TTR teammate. He's trying his absolute best just to stall these guys a little bit. They know they're in a little bit of trouble with 7 laps to go. Madison doing a great job holding on, but it's teammates, the Lobs guys, they're battling each other. They know Madison Down is playing the game. He's just trying to put his car and make it as wide as he can.
They've got to work together, because if they keep attacking, the reason they're not by Madison Down is they had a go at each other.
Yeah. Oh, they're crisscrossing again, so they're going to trip each other up. No, Phil Sell just gets in behind, but Madison, middle of the racetrack. Oh, it's going to be a drive up the inside. Phil Sell gets him.
And the words I heard from drivers is the reason you go on the overcut. This was after Watkins Glen, they were speaking to a couple of them. Marbles. And Gilliam, every time he tried to pick up the car and turn the car in then, he was on the marbles, and Phil Sell drives it on through. That eliminates a lap from the counter. But the distance, the hill, they've got to climb. You know what? Brady Myers just put 2.5 seconds on this little pack.
That's because these guys are squabbling. Madison's doing everything right. He's positioned his car. Jared's going to try and make a move up the inside. Can't quite get it. Don't be surprised. There might be just a little bit of nose to tail. That's exactly what Jared's doing. Using the chrome horn, just letting him know he's there. The problem that Phil Sell's got, along with Gilliam, is if they do get past Madison, they've got Anderson to deal with before Myers.
Yeah, so I reckon Brady Myers might win this race. It'll be off the back of the team. But with the way that they're going at the moment, Madison Down's not going to make the end on fuel. There's no way the way he's fighting these guys, he's having to burn more than he's got available to him.
Clutching. He's still clutching.
You're kidding me. No, he's in the front. That's the left rear tyre. Finally, Jared Phil Sell goes around the outside. They both run the tag. They're both on. No! No! 2024 all over again for these two! No! No! No!
We will see a new winner for 2025. Jared Phil Sell slipping down the order after contact with Madison Down. That has ruined his race for tonight.
And now it's up to Andrew Gilliam to fly the Lobs Esports flag high. He's got an opportunity. We talked to him. He loves this racetrack. He's got some work to do. The best of the tyre life is now behind him as well. They burn the shine off of them. Now he's going to climb after Josh Anderson. Now he's going to make it home. Madison Down will probably not finish this one. And have a look at Phil Sell 17th.
Yep. This is a massive hit in the points. Thankfully, now we go to the replay. So Madison Down just got a little tag from the inside there. Moves around the outside for Phil Sell, then nose to tail. They're just trying to fight each other as much as they can. Unfortunately, Phil Sell and Down come together. But Madison was saving fuel. Jared was trying to get on with it, nose to tail, and unfortunately that's turned to custard for Jared.
Yeah, you knew the game. They all knew the game.
They did.
Not
Absolutely.
a single one of them. New fastest lap, Dylan Pereira. You'll be happy with that one. It's an odd night. Odd things have happened, and Dylan Pereira's pulled the fastest lap out of somewhere. Because everyone else has had to overtake cars and Pereira's got a little bit of fresh air. Field is jumbled. Take your dominoes and cast them around. And have a look at this battle pack as people get into each other again. This is going to continue. This is just going to go off to the end of the race.
Is that Phil Sell in this pack down the back?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, look what he's got. He's got a hornet's nest in front of him.
And he'll have
he's going to move to the inside. Carnage, he's managed to dodge. Oh, he might make up 3 spots there with that Carnage.
I'm pretty sure that was Ryan Jones that was on the outside. They got pointed out of the way. Phil Sell gets to the inside, sends it deep, pulls it up, picks all their pockets.
Yeah, didn't care. He just pushed it. Into the fence. Oh, this race is coming unglued now with 4 laps to go. Was that Belle?
Was that Sebastian Vandel? Sebastian Vandel was in the fence. Yeah, it was a Vermilion liveried car. Gilliam only took 0.8 of a second out of Josh Anderson. So the question mark now becomes, okay, they've taken the life out of Gilliam's tyres. He's not going to get to the race. I don't think he's getting to the race lead, but Gilliam might make it.
Gilliam knows what he's up against because he's going to get to the back of Anderson. And Anderson's going to do the exact same thing as what Down does. They're just protecting their teammate. But Josh Anderson, he's up there in the points too. So he needs to think about his championship at the moment. P2 for the moment is great. He doesn't need to get into carnage and have contact with Gilliam and end up like what we saw with Phil Sell. When you get into contact, where's Phil Sell now? 14th position. Woo!
And Madison down played a sacrificial lamb roll there.
Yeah. Yep. And look, Jared knew what he was doing. Madison knew what he was doing. Andrew Gilliam knew what was happening. And they would do the same thing if the roles were reversed.
Yep. The worst part is, if they have not squabbled over at turn 2 and turn 3 between the team, they would have gotten Madison down when they got down to turn 3.
Yeah.
Oh, gee whiz. Is that going to be a moment that decides it tonight?
Check out this OG Gear replay. Damon Woods. He did this all by himself. Went in a bit hot, locked the tyres, kept it out of the fence, done a little spin, flick spin, and gets on with it. But you know what was interesting is that onboard camera went, as we see, this is all still going on back here. So Phil's now
7-12. Gets back to 12th. There'll be a few cars in that are trying to fuel save. That was one of them in behind him.
Oh, it's not over. Oh, dive up the inside. I was going to say, it was interesting when Jared Philsell and Madison Down were in the thick of it. Down was still clutching and saving fuel. Like, he was doing his absolute darndest to save as much fuel and hold Jared up and bring it home.
He's 33rd. He's 33rd at the moment. Oh, he's not going to lose any more spots from there. He's basically the last car running on the lead lap that hasn't had drama. These two on track and together. One of them trying to save fuel and cover the inside, and one of them trying to press on. Too wide, just ahead of them. Gee, that was Adam Briggs, I think. Jake Maloney? Yeah, it was.
Steady be nervous when you're still trying to save fuel. Hopefully it just hasn't dropped out the server just then. He's over the share, but he's back. That's good. So up the front, Brady Myers, Josh Anderson, they're trying to open up that gap.
Job Stewart's has picked himself up a drive-through penalty. Contact on that one. Top just recently might have just been with Ryan Jones. Remember that accident we saw right when Jared Philsell got there? Something's happened to Andrew Gilliam. Has he not added enough fuel to this car? He hasn't. Gilliam's got a fuel save mode.
Oh no.
He's short fueled to get back out ahead.
Let's listen.
And he's not got enough fuel. Luke Rosella has just overtaken his teammate because there's a big lift off from Gil. In fact, he's going to have to cover Griffin Gardner. Now he goes on the fuel station. Yeah, he's short. He's short.
Oh, wow.
But he chases him into the brake zone.
Yeah. Oh, it's still not over yet. Gilliam may lose a spot here. He's vulnerable, but trying to save fuel with 2 laps to go.
And it's not a short amount either. It's a fairly hefty save with the gulps on the clutch that he's using to try and save fuel at the moment. Griffin Gardner nearly gives him a touch-up. Luke Rosella has not had a great start at 2025, and he might walk away from this one with... I tell you what, Luke Rosella might just be the best of the Lobs drivers tonight. James Scott was just hearing, took a full extra second worth of fuel over Andrew Gilliam, and Gilliam led that first run. White flag is in the air. There is one more lap of racing left to come.
And there's only just over 4 seconds covering our top 6.
Look at Josh Anderson. He's closed up on Myers. Myers went a little bit harder than maybe he necessarily needed to.
Rosella,
he is closing in on him.
Under 2 seconds now for Rosella. 1.8 seconds. He can sniff those 2 TTR cars in front. If they hiccup, if they burp, he could be right there to pick up the pieces.
Well, we've had some big accidents on the main straightaway so far tonight in race 2. Could there be one more to tick off the end of this one? This is the battle pack in behind. Gilliam still trying to cover, still trying to save. Gilliam might be short. Something's happening to Jack Wittes. We'll get back to that because there's a battle for the race lead. How much fuel do these guys have to save? Anderson might be out. Anderson might be out. Here comes Rosella. Luke Rosella, he's won Sandown before in this series in the Gen 2. He's won on the biggest stage at the back end of the year. Can he get there? Couple more corners to go. 9, 10, 11. Is Anderson on fuel? I think he might be coughing already. He's so short on fuel. What about Gilliam? We haven't asked the question of Gilliam. Brady Myers gave up.
He's clutching.
A ton of time. Is Brady Myers going to make the line out of the last braking zone? Here it comes, 13, the stretch to the line. He puts the power to the line. There won't be enough time. Brady Myers, first new non-Jared Fuel Cell champion. He's out of fuel.
Yes.
And here they come, find it out further back. Gilliam gets pipped by the two Chiefs Esports boys. What happened? What happened on the streets of Detroit, Belle Isle? They call it Motor City. Tonight it was about switching the damn thing off.
You know, when TTR rolled the dice, saved fuel, played the game, and got the win.
Sandman! My God! Sandman's out of fuel! They're all running out! It's a cough! It's a splutter! But it's a roll to the line. Is he only going to lose that one spot? I think he might be okay. Oh.
Take a deep breath, Stanny. You know what? It's unreal. I love that someone rolled the dice and they got the win. Yes, a lot of things had to play out for Myers to get the checkered flag, but he did it. They rolled the dice, they took the gamble, and they walk away with the win. Well done, Brady Myers. TTR, what a great run that was. And Ando, did he get third? Where did Ando finish? I was too excited for everything going on.
He got third.
So Ando having a great season for 2025, finishes P3. And what a time to have that margin when Fuel Cell was in the thick of it. Here we go. The OG Gear replay.
What did we just see?
Oh, it's contact. Into the wall. They're just going to be bouncing off each other to the checkered flag. Bang!
It's a series.
Oh!
What is this series?
Super Sprint racing at Belle Isle. How good was that?
That was the right distance for the right circumstances for the safety car at the right time. If that comes a lap later, I think the whole field goes on the fuel safe strategy, you know?
That was incredible. Brady Myers, Trans-Tasman Racing, Josh Anderson, well done. Obviously, they'd be so thankful for Jared Fuel Cell for when the battle between Madison Down and Jared Fuel Cell. Madison did everything he could to buy him some time, and he bought them just enough. Look at that margin, just over half a second at the finish line.
What a witness! Like, only in sim racing. Only. You know, one of the comments Van Gisbergen made before he went to the States, by the way, was get fuel saving back on the menu. I think that race is why.
Absolutely. Well, someone rolled the dice. There wasn't now. I did say well done TTR, but there was a number of other teams and drivers that tried that as well. They felt that they couldn't make it and they bailed and went to pit lane. Brady Myers, obviously, with the help of their teammates, they got the job done. So it was a brilliant job from Brady Myers, Josh Anderson, to finish in the top three and fuel save as much as they did to get to the checkered flag. Big shout out to their team boss in Madison Down. He took a bullet for these guys and did his absolute best to sort of hold up that fast charging team of Andrew Gilliam. And man, I tell you what, those Lobs guys were cruising, weren't they? And then the safety car came out, the boys rolled the dice, and that flipped everything on its lid. And if I'd have told you that Luke Rosella would be the highest finishing Lobs driver at the halfway mark, you probably wouldn't have picked it.
No, none of us would have said it. No, it was not on the bingo card for tonight. It was not even in the realm of possible. It wasn't the thing that we were sitting here or we were thinking about. And the thing to consider is, you give those guys 3 or 4 more corners past Madison Down. That's it. We're not even talking half a lap. We're talking a quarter of a lap. They win the race. Well, you've got to be kidding me. No, okay. I need to calm myself down because I'm not sure what I've just witnessed. The field is rolling by. Right, I'm going to run through your top 10 because I think it's worthwhile mentioning. Brady Myers from Luke Rosella from Josh Anderson. Griffin Gardner gets back to P4. James Scott 5th. Chiefs Esports squad, not a bad night. It's 4th and 5th. They'll actually take that one. They probably won't be too hard done by for that. Andrew Gilliam will feel like he has been absolutely taken to the cleaners and robbed for 6th spot. Zach Rattray White, Matthew Bowler, Hayden Veld, Cody Deep. I really want to know, out of that Lobs Esports outfit, if Fuel Cell was also in a touch of fuel trouble as well. That's your top 10. 11th spot is where Jared Filsell gets back to, so he recovers quite nicely. His first non-win of the event, not even in the top 10. Emily Jones, reasonable night at the office for her, 20th to 12th. That's actually a really good night considering where she started. I think it was 30th for race 1. Wayne Burke from Adam Briggs, Brenton Hobson, Lachlan Capel, Robbie Gibbs, Ryan Jones, Jake Maloney, Glenn Postlethwaite. Right. Where do we get back to? Ian Ford. I'm losing my place. I can't keep I'm shaking. My hands are shaking, Stan man. 21st spot, Ian Ford from Rick Kuznetsov, Jake Blackhall, Andre Youssef, Damon Woods, Ethan Grieg-Gold, he was also on the fuel safe strategy, Job Stewart, Brian Borg, Kurt Stenberg back to 29th, lost that spot to Brian Borg, Sebastian Vandel 30th. Right, outside of your 30, we had 4 or 5 more cars on the lead lap. They were Dylan Pereira, Madison Down, Taylor Serrano, Jacob O'Reilly, and Jack Witters. By the way, Dylan Pereira sets the fastest lap of the race as well, 31.262. Then we get into the retirements. Ben Faulkner 2 laps down will score points. Sean McNamara 8 laps down will not score points. 75% was the required marker. Would have been lap 18, would have only needed to be 6 laps down. So everyone from Sean on down will not score points for this one. Dylan O'Shea, Tyson Broad, Brady Baldwin. That was all the way back on that opening lap, by the way. Jordan Ross, Dylan Rudd.
Wow.
Oh my God. A safety car did more laps than Dylan Rudd tonight.
I tell you what, it's going to be interesting.
Whoa. Hold up. There is a post-race penalty to be applied that I've just seen. Luke Rosella, 10-second penalty for lap 16, turn 12, won't finish on the podium. So Griffin Gardner will move up, so he will finish 8th spot in behind Matthew Bowler. So Andrew Gilliam is still the best finishing Lobs Esports driver on the night.
So that moves Anderson into P2.
God.
Wow. So Myers, your race winner, Josh Anderson P2, Griffin Gardner P3 after that 10-second penalty for Rosella. Unbelievable. What has happened tonight?
Well, from one of the drivers that was in the field, one of the drivers that was on the push hard and go nuts strategy, Griffin Gardner had a boxing match with Andrew Gilliam on the last lap, mate. That race from the commentary box was wild. Did you guys think the fuel save strategy was going to work for those guys at any stretch?
Definitely not. We thought they were going to pull up a fair bit short. Obviously, I think there was some good battling going on between obviously Madison and Jared that unfortunately ended up in a bit of a pile-up, but that obviously helped Josh and Brady a little bit maintain the gap. So I think it would have been pretty close, all things normal, but that's just how racing is.
Mate, in terms of overtaking the guys that were fuel saving, it looked a little bit treacherous to try and pick up where they were starting to pick up the clutch and whatnot. So I'm assuming it was all planned. Give them sort of the warning that where you're going to go. Was it difficult to read the overtakes in that last stanza of that race?
Yeah, there was a couple coming down the back straight where you're not sure where they're going to be lifting. So it's just making a clear line, and then some of them were lifting out of it. Some of them were lifting and then trying to battle into the braking zone. So everyone was different. But thankfully, everyone raced pretty clean there. So yeah, it's good.
Mate, in terms of things, new squad, Chiefs Esports, everything's been going reasonably okay. That's obviously a standout finish now for you for the season. The confidence I feel like in this 2025 outfit has been steadily growing and growing and growing for you guys. New hands on the car. Are you yet in a position where you're feeling comfortable? You're feeling you're back to your very best? Are you still chasing those little bits and pieces?
I think we're definitely behind the car. Obviously, we're working alongside the Eclipse Team Sports boys this season, and a lot of work's been put in. But the Lobs car has clearly got something on the whole field. I think it's up to everyone else to go and chase them. So I think we've got a bit of work to do. But with the amount of talent we've got in this group, you know, the driving's up to standards. So we just have to work on the car, and I think the results will hopefully come.
Mate, and finally, congratulations on P3. Well managed, made sure you got home, made sure it was clean in the end there. Who would you like to give a thank you and a shout out to?
Yeah, just big thanks to all the boys, obviously James, Dylan, and the crew at Eclipse for all the work that goes in every week. Much appreciated. Thanks to the guys at the Chiefs for all they do for us, and obviously the sponsors, Aussie Broadband, Logitech G, and Westfield, and thanks to the admins for the series, and thanks to you guys for the broadcast as well.
Mate, thank you very much. Good to chat to you, Griff. And there's a lot to dissect at the end of that one. I wonder you might be willing to go back and watch a few of those laps because it went off.
Cheers.
Righto. Sam, man, do you feel like you're up to an interview here tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Have to talk to the man, Josh Anderson. Congratulations, buddy. Relegated up to P2. That strategy to roll the dice and save fuel to the end. Heart and mouth stuff, mate. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thanks, mate. I've never rated my fuel saving abilities, so I was always pretty, I'm and ahhing about doing it. I'm a left foot braker. I know how to right foot brake, but I just sort of feel more comfortable left foot braking in the sim. And then I was in the race. I was like, shit, I'm not going to make it. Like I was not going to make it. And then I was like, far out. I got to like left foot on the clutch, then change in the braking zone to my left foot on the brake. Like I was like a dog's breakfast out there. And I thought, oh, do I start right foot braking? Because like I've raced the 86, I've got a right foot brake in that. Like I've not done it much, right? I've basically had to learn a right foot brake when I drove that car. But it was, yeah, I somehow got home. I was shitting myself, mate. To be honest, I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. Like I was properly shitting myself. But we got there somehow.
When you were clutching down the back straight and you missed out, you thought at the time that you'd lost second place. Were you sort of burning up inside, or were you just wanted to bring it home for P3? Or were you spewing about missing out on P2 at that stage?
Oh, yeah, like I was spewing at myself because I thought, Josh, come on, you've got to be better than this. You've done a lot of racing in the sim. You've got to be better at fuel saving. Like there's no excuse not to be better at fuel saving. And Mads is amazing at it. And, you got to learn from that. So I was pretty angry at myself. To be honest, like I never thought the win was even on. Obviously, Mads, played the Sergio Perez a bit and held up the Lobs cars. But they did that to us, so it is what it is.
That's something we touched on in the broadcast too. If the roles
2023
would have been reversed, they would have done the same thing. And
100%.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, for me, I was just focusing on getting it home. That's why, if I had a bit more fuel, I would have definitely been a roadblock for Rosella, but I didn't have the fuel, so there was no option. I just had to. I was clutched from halfway down the straight, and I thought I was cooked, to be honest, until like the last corner. I was like, actually, no, I can give it a squirt and I'll make it. And like that was pretty. I'm still, my heart rate's still elevated, so it was good.
Don't blame you, mate. The confidence, like I was thrilled when I saw you guys rolling the dice that someone was actually, brave enough to have a crack at that. The safety car fell, and I thought, geez, it's a bit of a stretch to save that much fuel. I'm not a great driver. I'm worse at saving fuel. I can't do it for the life of me. It's definitely a skill, and for you to bring it home and do the job, that's a huge credit to you and the team.
Yeah, mate, I think I was going to map a button clutch after the last race and I didn't do it. I forgot about it. I've either got to figure out if I'm going to right foot brake or, because like the way I was like going into turn 3, like left foot on the clutch, then change to left foot on the brake. Like I almost had some bell ringers, mate, going into I was all over the place. So I've got to get better at that. But we made it. So and I'm pretty happy. It's been, I think, because I've been lucky enough to be doing the VRS work. So it's been getting me on the sim more. And like I used to be on the sim a lot, when I was in uni. Like the last few years, I was barely driving the sim. And I think it's making a difference because my results are a lot better this year. So it's, it's keep trying to get better. And like obviously Jared's pace is phenomenal. So we're a long way away from that. But if we just keep trying to get better and better, and then hopefully we can come by the Enduros, maybe we can sort of have the pace to challenge him. But we just got to keep working it, trying to get better, both in our like technique, mainly. I think it's mainly driver, to be honest. But then also our setup development and that kind of thing too. So I'm happy, mate. It's been good. You don't always have good days in racing, so you got to celebrate them when they come.
And just one more before we let you go. That this year has been incredible for you. It's been a great start, and for today to come away with a P2 in race 2, it just adds to how well that 2025 is going for you. And like you said, more time in the sim, that VRS work, and I think that's really showing, mate. So keep it up. You obviously got to be stoked with the way the season's going so far. I know it's early days, but it's a good start to the season.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It makes a big difference, and I've still got to even I did a pretty piss poor job in the second session in qualifying. So we're not sort of trying to say that I'm a gun now, but it's made a difference. Like I always knew I could drive. I raced in PESC a few years ago, so I knew I could drive, but I think doing a lot more laps has been good. So it's just getting you on the sim more and sort of forcing you to drive more, and then yeah, it seems to pay some dividends in the end. But yeah, it's massive thanks to the whole team. Like we're all getting old. We all joke that we're all washed. Probably true. We are extremely washed, but we all get on. We have a laugh. We have banter in Discord till 3 a.m. and we try to just go racing and have some fun and sort of we're all mates outside the sim. So it's a great environment to be in. I think Brady and I send each other Instagram reels every day consistently. So yeah, it's good. So we're happy. We'll try to persist, get better for the next round. So we got pace to find. There's no denying that. This wasn't a win on pace by any means, but yeah, press on to wherever the next round is. I actually don't know where it is, and we'll hopefully go one better there. But we'll see.
Well, you're off to Spa, mate, for the next round. Keep up the great work. And before we let you go, how about any people you want to thank along the way?
Yeah, like I said, love TDR. Like, it's your home. So everyone that gets on at TDR. But I want to thank Brady. Like, Brady and I, you know, we often say in TDR, yeah, we're all old. We all have jobs. We're all busy. We never drive. We never do any practice. We also sort of whinge at each other and say we need to get on more. But Brady and I sort of this week were like, you know, Brady put in a lot of effort. And it's good to have, you know, if Brady wasn't keen to drive, then I wouldn't be driving, you know, for the practice for the event. So I'm really glad Brady got the win because he fully deserves it. And it's very rare in racing. I can assure you of that. But you put the effort in and you get rewarded, and that doesn't always happen. But sometimes it does happen. And yeah, it's awesome to see Brady get that win today.
All right, congratulations, Josh. We'll let you go celebrate. And Scotty, now you can catch up with the man he was just talking about, our race winner for tonight, Brady Myers.
There comes a moment in every race where you're fuel saving, where that question goes through your head of, have I done enough? What have I got left to do? Is there too much to save? When did you know that you were going to make that car home? Because I tell you what, you coughed, you spluttered, you died over the line, and there was nothing left. Normally you get to celebrate and do a burnout. Tonight it was just, thank God I made it.
Yeah, I was dead solid in the cockpit. Didn't really know until the last straight, really. I was still 100 mil short, even on the last lap. So I was clutching at straws, clutching everywhere, just trying to make speed and make fuel, live in the car. So I'm just flabbergasted. I didn't expect that one at all.
Mate, in terms of the racing scenario, it was a risk because you throw yourself mired back in traffic. If that one doesn't work out, you pee absolutely nowhere, and you're on the gasps from running out. The other teammates have done so. Was there calls of, we all think this is straight? Who made the call for you guys all to move over onto that strategy?
We actually had a pre-race meeting and just sort of said, you know, if there's a safety car early on in the race, what do we think the first lap is that we can get home with a bit of like a feasibly? And we sort of highlighted, you know, lap 3 was sort of that sort of window. And as it turned out, you know, when you're faced with pressure, you kind of forced to make it happen, and we did.
Tonight, there's obviously a fair bit of support that comes from teammates. Obviously, Madison Down had to play a little bit of a sacrificial lamb role, but it's defense, it's fighting, it's getting yourselves up and about together as a team. I think, you know, that sort of a result does not come about without planning, without preparation work, the setup work. That's all of it. But then the strategy side of things, that's you guys sitting down as a team and going, here's the numbers, here's the data. What do we think? I mean, how many years of development work has it taken within you guys to have confidence in that prep work that you guys do each and every week?
Honestly, not a lot. We wing it each week, but we've got a few good heads in our team, and you know, we can crunch numbers on the fly, and we've got Jake Maloney to thank for that. He's pretty a gun with those numbers and, you know, crucial crunching and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, big thanks to Madison. He's not going to be short of alcohol this week, I can tell you that much.
Mate, congratulations on the race finish this here. When was the last time you won one on fuel strategy? I'm guessing these come so few and far between where you're clutching at straws like this.
Yeah, it's been a long time since drinks. I think it was the very first year, or thereabouts, was Phillip Island, I think, last win. So yeah, it's been a minute, but you know, I'm really glad to be here, and you know, as much as Ando was pumping me up and saying I did a lot of work, he did twice as much. So, you know, big thanks to Ando. He really put in the labour, and, you know, glad that we could at least share some of the spoils tonight.
Mate, congratulations on, well, you're halfway through the thank yous. They've only just really started, so I'll let you toddle on with the rest of them.
Yeah, of course. Big shout out to everyone at TTR. Obviously, you know, big results tonight. Couple of podiums for me, and, you know, one for Ando. So really thankful to have a return of speed and a return of form, because we've been a bit in the slumps, been in the doldrums, and not really sure why. So, you know, big thanks to everyone for pulling our heads together and putting a decent car together. Wasn't the fastest, but, you know, we made do. Big thanks to Simrigs, to Derek for being on my car this year. He's glad to finally give him some exposure. But yeah, thank you, Derek. Thanks to Extreme Motor Trimming for continued support, always being big supporters of mine. To Virtual Racing School, utilised that a lot this week, Ando and I, going over data, going over lines, telemetry, all that biz. So thank you to them. Thank you to Ethan and Blair at Cartefex. Always thankful for those guys. Thank you to Lee Ellis Designs, TP Race Design, and to you guys for the broadcast.
Brady, thank you very much, mate. We better let you get off and start getting in touch with some alcohol deliveries that are the going way of one of your teammates, mate. Congratulations on the race result here tonight. See you in a little while for some racing from Spa.
Great, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Well, Sandman, I cannot believe what we just witnessed, and I do have a final result on what we said. I said before that second race, do you reckon we're heading into main course? Do you reckon we're heading into dessert? That was main course and dessert smooshed into one glorious thing, and then somebody's throwing a whole bunch of Milo on the top of it. That was awesome.
Yeah, we had an idea that the Super Sprint was going to turn on something special, but I don't know that we had that in our sights. But what an incredible race. So glad to see that someone rolled the dice with strategy. One, that they tried it, but two, that it paid off too. Obviously, a lot of things had to go their way, and it did. And we saw an incredible race, and I don't think you could ask for much more. An exciting way to race around Belle for the Super Sprint, and man, can't wait to get to the next one, Spa-Francorchamps. It's going to be absolutely brilliant.
Well, I tell you what, Sam, man, we were all disappointed at the start of the night that there was no rain in the offering. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. That was brilliant. We don't need rain to make racing interesting. Far out. Righto, ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap this one up, because I've still got to spend the next few hours trying to wrap my head around what just happened. That is going to be the next round of the Logitech V8 Pro Invitational Series. It is coming up on Wednesday, the 25th of June. Coverage will start for Spa-Francorchamps from 7:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That is GMT +10 to any of our international viewers. And I've seen a couple out in the comments this evening, so hello and welcome to all of you guys. But before we get there, Spa-Francorchamps is also the next round of the 2025 Gamesman GT Pro Invitational Series. It was a phenomenal race last time out. You cannot afford to miss this one. 3 hours of endurance racing in GT3 crafts. 2 cars to select each of the teams that they've pre-prepped at the start of the season. What are they going to bring us? That will be next Friday. Not this week, next Friday, the 5th of July. 5th of June for all the racing. Sorry, my apologies. It was July. My apologies. I've got that one all wrong. We're going to be racing on the 5th of July. That's why I was saying at the start of the day, hang on, we've got all our dates wrong on this one. No, it was me that had the month wrong, you absolute muppet. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is a wrap. I'm off to go find myself a new voice box, because this one is destroyed by everything that went on there from Detroit Belle Isle. Ladies and gents, this has been your Logitech V8 Pro Invitational. See you again next time.
We are gaming fanatics. Our goal has never been to just play games. We think it's much better to feel like you're actually in the game. This feeling is what drives us as we create world-class gaming chairs. Our one aim, give you a brand new gaming experience. Help you move in perfect sync with everything on screen. Make sure you're having a ton of fun. It took us decades to achieve this, and we're still not satisfied. Every day, we wake up to get better. We'll never stop designing the very best to help you be your best. When it's all said and done, our job's only done if you're in full flow and focused on your victory. May you win, and win big.